So hey guys, welcome back to my channel. What if Naruto possessed the powers of Quint Wizard? Movie 1. Welcome students to another year at Hogwarts. Dumbledore announced to the Hall of Hogwarts students. This year is a special one as we have been selected for a legendary event, the Tri-Wizard Tournament. However, this year we have 2 new participants in the tournament, making it the first ever Quint Wizard Tournament. Harry looked at his best friends Ron and Hermione. So this is what Ron's family was teasing them all about all summer. Without further ado, I present you the first of the newcomers to this legendary event. From Japan, deep within the land of fire, the Hidden Leaf Advanced Ninja Academy. The doors of the Great Hall burst open as dozens of young teens leapt across the dining tables. At least, Harry thought they were teens. They all moved so quickly, even his seeker-trained eyes could barely keep up with them. They leapt off of plates and students' cups with such grace you would think these newcomers were made of air. They did flips and acrobatics, running along and up the walls, some just standing there, their feet sticking to the walls. It was clear that they were showing off their magic. Fireballs were going off like fireworks, one young man expanded like Harry's Aunt Marge. A swarm of fireflies danced around the candles hanging overhead. And Harry might have been drinking too much pumpkin juice, but Hess pretty sure he saw a horse-sized dog turn into a duplicate of a wild-looking guy in a leather jacket and continue to do impossible gymnastics. How are they doing that? Ron asked in surprise and bewilderment. It's unlike any magic I've ever seen, Hermione commented. It's ninjutsu. A bored voice explained. The trio whipped around to see the mystery person. He was a tall man, scrawny build like a scarecrow, with spiky silver hair and a mask covering all but his right eye. He looked preoccupied reading his orange book with foreign text on the cover. Hermione thought it was an Asian spell book, small enough to fit in your pocket. The man sighed and promptly closed his book. Then, he clasped his hands together in a quick succession of hand signs, making sure to slow his movement down enough to give the foreign magic users a demonstration. Everyone near Harry's seat and on the table opposite him were mesmerized by the foreign wizard's demonstration. Hermione in particular was eating it up to learn about a brand new form of magic. Magic without the use of a wand. Suddenly, the scarecrow man's right hand burst to life with electricity. Harry could see the man was holding a concentrated bolt of lightning in his hand. Bloody hell, that's awesome. Ron declared. The masked man smiled through his eye. Oh how he missed seeing his cute little students act in awe of his jutsus. A little indulgence was so nice every now and again. The man raised up his heart and the bolt of lightning shot upwards, filled the grand dining room with a deafening sound of thunder. Which succeeded in getting the young ninjas to settle down. Like a well-disciplined platoon of soldiers, they fell in line in the center walkway of the dining hall in time for their headmistress' arrival. An ink bird which had been flying overhead quickly burst apart, splattering the far end of the Ravenclaw's table with ink. Much to the dismay of those unlucky students. Harry saw the fireflies and beetles that had been buzzing overhead all swamp back to a single one of the foreign students. Did he just absorb all those bugs into his body? Neville asked. Gross, Lavender whispered just before Professor McGonagall called for silence. Just then, in walked the most buxom woman Harry had ever seen. She was of average height with long blonde pigtails wearing a light green jacket and grey pants. And her chest, Harry hadn't seen a rack that big since he blew up his aunt. Not that this woman walking past him was in any way fat, she was gorgeous and looked no older than 30. But the amount of cleavage she was showing off was unheard of in the halls of Hogwarts. Ron and several other guys couldn't help but bulge their eyes out till Hermione slapped the back of his head. Don't stare. She hissed. Sorry, it's just, they don't build them like that back home. Ron said as he got an eye full of the other girls they had brought along. Harry full-heartedly agreed, well there were only 5, not counting the foreign headmistress and her assistant, they were all athletically toned in all the right places, as the entire school could plainly see. One even had pink hair and another had eyes that Harry bet could pierce into his soul all the way across the hall. She looked really nervous though. Which Harry could completely sympathize with, as he was often the center of attention and never liked it any more than she seemed to. They make him just fine back home, thank you very much. Hermione replied, bringing Harry back to the table he was sitting at. Lady Tsunade. It's a pleasure to meet you. Dumbledore greeted the large-breasted woman as she approached the front of the room. The pleasure is all mine, Professor Dumbledore. It isn't often that I get an excuse to get out of my school for a few months and avoid all that ungodly paperwork. Tsunade replied, to which Dumbledore chuckled. Ah yes, I completely understand. I'm almost disappointed that the ministry hadn't chosen some other school to host the tournament and spared me from another year's worth of paperwork. Dumbledore joked. Ahem. McGonagall coughed, hoping to get them both back on track. They had 3 more schools to introduce. Oh right. You may take your seat among my staff at the table behind me. Your students can take the bleachers to the right. Dumbledore said. Tsunade nodded and motioned her students to take their seats. They obeyed, although not in the way any of the young wizards were expecting. While some ninjas did opt to sit on the bleachers normally, a handful of the guys decided to show off by leaping up to the walls and stuck to them like their feet were suction cups, then they just sat on their heels. Next we have a school unlike any other. From the tropics in the land of dragons came House Martial Arts Academy and their headmaster, Rashi. The doors opened again, this time 8 students appeared from what seemed like nothing. One by one, each student took to the air and did several forms of aerial acrobatics. 2 students combined a few attacks to create shockwaves in the air as the others shot yellow balls of energy that circled the room before ascending upwards and exploding like fireworks. Merlin's beard. Someone cried. They're flying without broomsticks. All 8 students floated in the air in an octagonal pattern with their hands cupped to their sides. Ah, me, ha, me, ha. They all shouted as 8 blue beams erupted from their outstretched hands and combined in the center, creating a large blue sphere. The sphere grew to a large size until the taller one of the students pulled his beam away and then released a golden beam into the blue sphere. The sphere detonated and erupted like a million fireworks above all of the slack-jawed spectators. A thunderous applause was heard, even from the ninjas, as the 8 students descended to the front of the crowd and bowed respectfully as their teachers walked in. One was a short old man with a brown wooden walking stick, the other a tall man clad in orange like the rest of the students with black spiky hair that stayed a step behind the elderly man. "Ah, Rashi, my old friend. How have you been?" Dumbledore greeted. "Training these students. They sure don't make them like they used to," Rashi stated. "Allow me to introduce my assistant and my top student, Goku-san." "That's his top student," Harry whispered to his friends. "He looks way too old to be a student." "They did say martial arts school. It's not a traditional education," Hermione replied. "Maybe the students can stay on longer than us regular students," the witch in training explained. "You couldn't be more right, young lady," Rashi said as Hermione's eyes went as wide as dinner plates. "Goku here has been my student for almost 40 years. Yet, there is still always something new for him to learn," Rashi explained. "How did you, hear you? Hehe, young lady, if you could live as long as I have, you'd pick up a few tricks here and there," Rashi chuckled. Hermione turned red at being singled out. Suddenly all eyes were on her. Across the room, Malfoy was snickering to himself. Class hasn't even started and the chef's already playing the teacher's pet. Harry and Ron shot death glares at Malfoy's comment, but it went largely ignored by Rashi. "I dare ask if you will be allowing Goku here to participate in the tournament. It would be quite unfair to the rest of the younger participants," Professor Dumbledore inquired. "Oh, you don't have to worry about me, sir. I'm just an assistant to Master Rashi on this trip. I'm still bummed I won't be in the tournament. But it would be unfair to all the other schools," Goku said. From the seat next to Dumbledore, Lady Tsunade scoffed. "I won't count my young ninjas out quite just yet, even if you did enter the tournament. I've got my own apprentice here for the running, and I'm confident she could give you a run for your money, Son Goku." Tsunade smirked. To which Goku gave a friendly smile back. "Is that so? Well then it should be an interesting tournament no matter who gets picked. Not for nothing, but I'm also pretty confident in my own son, should he be picked," Goku bragged. The halls erupted in even more whispers. Amongst the wizards and even a few of the ninjas. Who was this guy? And more importantly, who was his son? Harry zeroed in on a spiky-haired youth around his age. While not having nearly as messy of a hairstyle as Goku, the kid's onyx black hair and face all were too similar to the Goku character that there was no mistaking it. Whoever that kid in the middle was, he was the son of Goku, and from the way the headmasters were talking, would be a tough opponent to beat. Once the Kame House students were settled in next to the Hidden Leaf, the delegates from Beauxbatons and Durmstrang made their own entrances. Which fell short in grandeur after seeing the 2 other schools with their wandless magic. After the other 2 headmasters made their greetings, everyone settled down to listen to Dumbledore's grand unveiling of the tournament to come. As I was saying earlier, the Quint Wizard Cup is a legendary event that has been hosted in over a generation. Usually it would only be held between 3 schools, hence the Triwizard part. In order to branch out to the farther eastern lands, our Ministry of Magic has invited the 2 most famous magic schools in all of Asia. In order to bring together these schools, their headmasters and a selection of their students will be spending the year here at Hogwarts. I trust that each and every one of you will extend every courtesy to our foreign guests while they are with us and will give your wholehearted support to the Hogwarts champion when he or she is selected," Dumbledore announced, enticing even more excited chatter from his students who already were bursting at the seam with questions. "But enough of that. You all want me to make the grand unveiling, don't you?" Dumbledore teased, sensing the mood of the audience. With a single wave of his wand, the veil had covered the object in front of the staff's table had been pulled back, revealing a stone goblet with blue flames. "This is the Goblet of Fire. The judge that will decide which student from each school may compete in the Quint Wizard Tournament. Any student who wishes to participate need only write their name and school on a piece of parchment. Sorry, scroll, he corrected himself for the more Eastern participants, most of whom made an off face. And toss it into the goblet. Be warned, when the goblet has selected you, there is no turning back. You must compete in all 3 of the challenges spread out throughout the year. One of the female students from the turtle school, the one with raven black hair and 2 pigtails, raised her eyebrow, curious as to how something like that would be enforced. She then figured magic and repaid attention. Given the nature and great danger involved in these challenges, only those who are above the age of 16 may enter. This was met with a chorus of boos from the Hogwarts students, 90% of whom were disqualified from competing out of the blue. That's rubbish. That's rubbish, you don't know what you're doing. Harry heard Fred and George yell, only to be met with a booming silence. From Dumbledore, who was having none of it. These steps are in place to ensure the participants' safety and ensure that only the most experienced young wizards may attempt the trials. I would like to remind you all, this tournament is not for the faint of heart. Harry looked around to see many of the students ignoring Dumbledore's warning and instead were picturing themselves as the school champion. Do not make this decision lightly. Once a champion has been selected, there is no turning back. On that note, the final selection will be made in 1 week's time. I encourage everyone over 16 to mull over your decision very carefully before submitting your name. Until then, it is late, and I know how important it is to you all to be awake and alert for your first lessons tomorrow. Bedtime. Chop chop. With that, Harry and the rest of the Gryffindors stood up to leave for their dormitories. As they made their way to the exit, they saw the ninjas all run up the walls and exited through the openings near the ceiling from where the owls came in every morning. Likewise, the Came House kids all flew up to exit out the same way as the ninjas. It was as if the Asian wizards didn't believe in using doors. Weird. At their dormitories, Harry and Ron and all the other guys in their room were up half the night talking about the Quint Wizard tournament and what it would be like if they had a chance to enter. Harry went to sleep that night dreaming about holding up the Quint Wizard Cup victoriously. A week later, at the edge of Hogwarts Field, inside the wooden Japanese-style mansion the ninjas had built for their stay, a young ninja with blonde spiky hair and whisker birthmarks sat outside awake. All week long, Naruto went to bed looking up at one thing, that castle. In all his years he had never seen anything like it. It looked so mysterious, so looming. It was crazy to think he had been inside such a monstrosity, let alone was expected to live next to it for an entire school year. Aside from having to share a room with the 8 other guys from his class, he was happy. This was going to be the longest he had ever been outside the village, and all Naruto could think was good riddance. He never liked growing up in the Leaf. For reasons beyond his control, he was always ostracized there. When he was 12, he learned the reason why. A demon sealed inside him by the 4th headmaster of his school. When he was just a baby, no less. The villagers surrounding the academy thought him to actually be the demon reincarnated. The nicest thing Naruto could say about it is that it led to a lonely childhood. It wasn't all bad though, he had a couple of friends here with him, not that many were left back at home mind you. But most importantly, he had Sakura-chan. She was his first friend and sage help him, that was all he needed. Sakura-chan. He thought giddily. Refocusing his attention on the looming castle above, he couldn't help but wonder if he could make any friends here at Hogwarts. Nah. He thought. I'm barely gonna see any of those guys outside of this tournament thingy. They'll probably be more interested in that Team Sasuke anyway. Story of Naruto's life, it didn't matter how good he was because Sasuke Uchiha was bestowed upon this world solely to be better than him. No matter what he did, Sasuke was always one step ahead. He made Genin before Naruto, he mastered the Chidori long before Naruto did with the Rasengan, and no doubt he would be selected to represent their ninja school in the tournament by divine intervention. So fuck it, Naruto thought. Like Neji always blathered on about, he was pre-designed to be the dead last, so he might as well embrace it and have some fun cheering on Sasuke and hanging out with Sakura. Naruto couldn't help but think back to his first night here at Hogwarts when everything had taken a turn for the worst, as it always did. 1 week ago, deep inside the Forbidden Forest, the ninjas had set up camp for the night. Kakashi had assured them that Yamato was on his way with their long-term living quarters and would be here in the morning. The young ninjas and the Hokage were fine with the settings though. They were used to sleeping outdoors in tents. In truth, this was the closest the self-titled Konoha 16 had ever come to a group vacation. Life in the Leaf Village gave them very few chances at downtime. When they weren't in class or just out training in the fields, they were called away on missions. Such was the fate of Genin in their village. Gone were the days of 12-year-olds leaving their basic education behind. Instead, those hoping to become ninjas could expect to spend their first 18 years as both students and Genin. What made the Konoha 16 special though, is each and every one of them had achieved the rank of Chunin by the time they were 16, Naruto being the last. This was unheard of in the history of the Leaf Academy, that so many undergraduates would qualify for the rank of Chunin, and nearly all of them came from the same age group. It was clear to everyone, even the civilians, that this was a special breed. Despite his reputation, Naruto was grateful to be counted amongst all the young shinobi surrounding him. His whole life he had been called dead last, and for the most part, those days were over. The jerks and the bullies from his boyhood had been swept aside by Naruto's newfound fame at being counted amongst the best his generation had to offer. After drawing straws, Naruto was selected as the third watch for the night. A seemingly pointless practice since they were technically on a friendly visit to another school, but for ninjas, old habits die hard. Naruto and Sakura had decided to stay up until Naruto's shift began. Sakura spent most of the time talking about the brand new world they were in. How they were half a world away from their home and yet everything seemed so different. Naruto was content to just listen to her. She might berate him for running his mouth from time to time, but she was no different. You get Sakura Haruno talking about a subject she is interested in, and she will just go on and on. Eventually Naruto managed to shift the conversation over to them talking about what they would do if they were chosen to represent their school. Then they started listing off the pros and cons of having the other kids be the school champion. I'm telling you, if Shikamaru was chosen he'd forfeit before the first challenge was even done. It's too troublesome, he'd say. Naruto debated. Oh come on. Sure Hess lazy, but Hess the smartest guy in our class. He'd still be fierce competition until he would forfeit. Sakura debated back. Fine, but you know who would be a serious competitor the whole way through? Rock Lee. Yeah, no duh, he'd be motivated by my undying flames of youth. Sakura said in her best Rock Lee interpretation, getting a chuckle out of her male blonde friend. Still, do you think he even qualifies? This is a magic competition and he can't even use jutsu. I say let him, it would be worth it to see all those wizards get beaten by what do they call them? Muddles. Yeah, probably, Sakura giggled. Soon Kiba came by to get Naruto to relive him. Sakura wanted to stay up with Naruto until his shift ended, but he insisted that she needed a rest. She had the sixth shift. After some teasing for Kiba on the two of them acting like an old married couple, which Sakura firmly denied, Naruto went off to the edge of the campsite to begin his shift. Shadow Clone Jutsu. His fingers in his trademark cross-eye, and two more Narutos poofed into existence. The original sent them off to guard around the campsite in a three-point formation. The clones were solid and could think for themselves, but they were vulnerable to the slightest damage. Worst case scenario, they would be destroyed and Naruto would know immediately, making them the perfect sentries. The whiskered blonde kicked up his feet and got ready for a long boring hour of nothing when the Duck Butt Brigade decided that they had other plans. To Naruto's credit, he sensed them coming before the three of them leapt down in front of him all dramatic like. Hey loser, come with us. The white-haired boy made of water spat at him. Good evening to you too, asshole. Naruto spat back. The hell did Sasuke want now? What you say? Sujetsu said to him. He bared his shark-like teeth at Naruto while enlarging his right arm using his water-based transformation powers. Cause I could have sworn you said, oh please beat the shit out of me, Sujetsu-san. Oh would you put away that macho man crap? The redhead with glasses and an under-zipped shirt sighed, so sick of Sujetsu's shit. You want some too, skank. Wanting to nip his two companions' argument in the bud, the 7-foot-tall gentle giant with orange hair intervened. Stop it Sujetsu, you two Karen. They both scoffed. The giant then turned to Naruto and spoke in a calm tone. Sasuke has requested your presence, would you please come? Now it was Naruto's turn to scoff, not that he had much of a choice in the matter. Wow, sending all three of you, I must be special. Does Sasuke have you three fetch his slippers every morning too? To that end, Sujetsu sucker punched Naruto in the gut while his attention was focused on Juugo, whom was known to snap with a change in the wind. Naruto doubled over, and it became clear they were done pretending to ask nicely. Naruto made a third clone and instructed it to stay here, so no one would be any the wiser. Then the real Naruto followed behind the Duck Butt Brigade. 5 minutes later, which for a ninja was easily 5 miles deeper into the woods, the group came across the last Uchiha himself, taking a rare break from training. All around him were slash marks and massive craters no doubt made by Sasuke's infamous Chidori. Taught to him by none other than Kakashi-sensei himself. Naruto couldn't help but notice the one female of their group looking starry-eyed. A typical reaction at seeing the village heartthrob shirtless and out of breath. Sasuke spoke, not even bothering to look in Naruto's direction or to acknowledge his subordinate's presence. Team Naruto replied, still clinging to his pride, only for him to be backhanded upside the head by Karen for speaking ill of her beloved Sasuke-kun. I don't suppose you know why I asked you to come here. Let me guess. You wanna confess your love to me because damn the world. Well I'm sorry team, I know you must love it up the ass, but I don't swing that way. Might wanna give Sujetsu here a chance though. Hess used to sticking large things into guys. Naruto joked. He had been saving that one since his last encounter with Sasuke when a failed prank backfired on him. Karen and Sujetsu looked like they were gonna blow a fuse while Juugo was admiring some owls flying off in the nighttime sky above. Sasuke being Sasuke however, kept his cool. Hilarious, this coming from a virgin. The trio of underlings burst out in a fit of chuckles, giggles, and laughs like a good pack of trained dogs. Naruto was fuming, that was below the belt. "What do you want, team?" he said, trying to get to the point. Sasuke put on his long-sleeved shirt, much to Karen's dismay. "I want what everybody here wants, dope. The hidden leaf to win this stupid tournament thing. And unlike you, I'm sure I have a plan to do it." "Oh yeah? And pray tell what is that?" "Simple, I'm going to be chosen as the champion," Sasuke said. "You're gonna be chosen as the champion? Genius, why didn't I think of that?" Naruto replied sarcastically. "Because you're an idiot," Sasuke replied, ignoring Naruto's attempts at wit. "But don't worry about that. You're actually going to help me with my plan. By submitting my name into the Goblet of Fire in place of your own. And why, pray tell, would I do that? This ought to be good. Do you honestly expect me to just stand around here for 6 months and watch someone else represent the strength of our academy? No. My time would be better spent back at the Leaf being trained by Orochimaru." Orochimaru, Naruto thought with venom. The head of scientific research at the Hidden Leaf Village and the right hand to the Hokage. He was one of the 3 Sannin or legendary ninjas of the Leaf Village. The same as Granny Tsunade, only Orochimaru absolutely gave Naruto the creeps. After Naruto and the rest had become genin, Orochimaru had taken an immediate interest in Sasuke. Many thought it was natural, the prodigy of the old generation taking an interest in the Uchiha prodigy of the new generation. There were rumors, of course, that the Snake Sannin had only taken Sasuke on as his apprentice because of Sasuke's Sharingan, him being the last remaining Uchiha. Naruto always wondered if Sasuke himself suspected those rumors or he was just too full of himself to care. "The only reason I came here in the first place was to test myself against the strongest opponents these schools had to offer. Anything less than that is a waste of my time," Sasuke continued. "Besides, how would our school look if you were to be chosen as its champion?" Sasuke spat, touching a nerve on Naruto. "You, who just barely made genin and just barely, who remains constantly the dead last of our entire class." He listed off, each point cutting deeper and deeper into the Uzumaki. "I won't have my title as a ninja tarnished by being represented by you, so why don't you do the entire class a favor and submit a name worthy of the title champion?" And just like that, Naruto went silent. He had always known that Sasuke was an arrogant bastard, hell everyone who didn't fawn over him knew that, but this was a new low. There was only one thing Naruto could say in a situation like this. "Fuck you." The blonde turned around to leave with only his middle finger to trail behind him when he was stopped by Sasuke's 3 goons. Karen, who had been watching the entire time, saw an opportunity to score points with her precious Sasuke-kun. "Where do you think you're going, baka? How dare you reject Sasuke-kun's offer? This is a kindness, you wouldn't want to embarrass yourself in front of Sakura-chan, would you?" The evil redhead smirked. Naruto went wide-eyed with fear. She knew she had him. "Oh yes, we all know about your precious Sakura-chan. But wait, she's not yours, now is she? At least not how you'd like her to be," she sang. Naruto felt his blood boil, feeling somewhat betrayed. Now Karen was a bitch, there was no one to dispute that, probably hated him just as much as the rest of the village, but to go that far. "You won't I?" she said in a sickly sweet tone. "No way." Sujetsu chuckled, finally catching on. "He actually has a crush on that flat-chested bitch." He laughed. "Shut up." Naruto growled, the whisker marks on his cheeks becoming darker, something that went unnoticed by Sujetsu and Juugo under the pale moonlight. "Oh man, that is priceless." The shark-toothed swordsman laughed. "Hey Sasuke, isn't Sakura one of those fangirls of yours?" "She once was, I believe," Juugo commented. "Oh man, what if we had our boy Sasuke ask her out?" Sujetsu suggested, he couldn't see it, but Naruto's eyes turned into slits like an animal's. Karen and Sasuke looked displeased at this idea. Karen, because the thought of Sasuke being with anyone else even for pretend filled her with dread, besides she only pursued this line to get a rise out her cousin. And Sasuke because the thought of having to waste his time dating annoyed him. Naruto was fuming at this point, one more word, just one more word. "Or maybe I could have my way with her?" Sujetsu smirked. "Give that ass a ride, you don't have the balls to give her." Naruto lunged forward to attack Sujetsu, putting everything he had into his right punch to hurt the white-haired bastard as much as possible. However, he unconsciously held back, doing so caused the punch to come off too telegraphed, and Sujetsu had managed to bring his hand up just in time to block Naruto's fist. It was too powerful though, the force behind Naruto's blow was enough to make Sujetsu's hand exploded into liquid. Hyugo meanwhile, took the opportunity to transform his left arm into its cursed state, turning it large and purple like a demon's hand. He swung his grotesque fist straight through Sagetsu's torso to line up a perfect shot at Naruto, knocking him back several meters flat on his back. The blonde skidded to a halt right in front of Sasuke, who planted his sword right next to Naruto's exposed neck. "Pathetic," he said. Naruto could only grit his teeth to avoid shouted at Sasuke and waking up the entire country. "Eren, go wake Sakura up and tell her whatever you like." Sasuke called out to his red-headed admirer, smirking internally. "No wait." Naruto cried out, desperate to stop them from revealing his secret. Karen stopped just hear what her alleged cousin had to say. Jugo and Sasuke were also waiting patiently for the blonde's answer. Sagetsu was too busy reforming his body to care. Naruto looked up at the night sky. His thoughts turned to Sakura. All the happy times he could remember with her. The pranks he had gotten her to help him with. The time she saved him a seat during lunch. The time she helped him with assignments he didn't have a clue on. The time she had stood up for him. And all the time she had scolded him because she cared when no one else did. She was his best friend, his first friend. How could he not fall in love with her? And how could he even think of risking his friendship with her? "Fine, damn it, fine, I'll do it, just don't tell Sakura please," he whispered loud enough for Sasuke to hear him. Satisfied, the Uchiha sheathed his sword before walking away without a word. "Coward," Naruto thought to himself. The rest of the Uchiha gang stood up to head back to camp, leaving Naruto alone to stare up at the night sky and ponder his thoughts. Later that night, Shikamaru found him out in the woods and escorted him back to camp so that the Nara heir could start his own shift. That was a week ago, and all anyone had talked about since then was the tournament. Sakura especially seemed excited for a chance to prove herself. For once, Naruto couldn't share her enthusiasm. Sasuke's words just kept eating at him like an Akimichi at a buffet. Tonight was going to be that fateful night. Tsunade had talked to them earlier in the evening that if any of them had gotten cold feet, now would be the last chance to opt out of submitting their names. For everyone else, they would line up single file after the feast and submit their names one at a time in front of the entire Hogwarts school. They were told it was to prevent cheating among the students if every school made a big show of it. Although Naruto noticed that no other school had to submit to this regulation. Naruto knew persecution when he saw it, he had been the victim of it more than enough times back home, but it seems to the rest of the world, ninjas were a sneaky, dishonorable bunch of tricksters. It infuriated Naruto, but none of his peers seemed to notice or care, so he let it slide. After a scrumptious feast of roasted pork and European delicacies, the ninjas all lined up as they were instructed with their slips of paper in hand. Unsurprisingly, no one had decided to back out. Even Shikamaru, whom everyone had silently bet would forfeit out of sheer mind-numbing laziness. It made what Naruto had to do all the more difficult. As he stood up, he was eyed by Sasuke and his merry band of assholes. The sneers they were throwing Naruto's way would put a lesser ninja over the edge. But despite what everyone in the village assumed, Naruto was not some weak genin. He was a ninja, damn it, as good as any other except. Sasuke's words still cut deep into the blonde. Who was he kidding? Even with that weird training he got from that perverted hermit in secret, he was nowhere near any one of his classmates' level. He might have been in the top tier of rookies, but he was still the bottom of the barrel. Frustrated, Naruto clutched his blank slip of paper. "Naruto, what's wrong?" a voice behind him asked. He turned around and there was Sakura, with a look of concern on her face reserved only for him. "Nothing, Sakura-chan. Just nervous is all." He lied with his best fake smile. Sensing his discomfort, Sakura decided to buy it for now. She turned her attention back to Ino, whom she was already having a discussion with. Naruto looked ahead and noticed that Sasuke was staring at him intently, his Sharingan activated. He was spying to make sure that Naruto kept his end of the bargain. Figuring it was now or never, Naruto pulled out a tiny ink brush gifted to him by his teammate Sai. He had told Naruto when he first laid eyes on the little brush it had reminded Sai of him. Never mind that now though, Naruto took the ink brush and began scribbling a name down on his strip of paper. S.A. Sasuke, feeling satisfied with the dope, turned his gaze away and focused on observing his opponents, any one of whom could be in the room with them at that very moment. While he looked away, Naruto finished scribbling down a name in his rather sloppy handwriting. Auraharuno. He folded the paper quickly without anyone else noticing. The Sharingan might be able to pick up the most minute details, but it couldn't read what it couldn't see. One by one the students dropped their strips of paper into the goblet of fire, finally it was Naruto's turn. Making certain not to open his note ink as Sasuke stopped being his usual trusting self, Naruto plopped it into the fire and retreated back to the table where him and all his classmates were sitting, a mischievous grin on his face. The kind, Sakura noticed, he only had on when one of his infamous pranks was in motion. "Naruto, what did you do?" she growled. Normally she enjoyed his pranks when they weren't directed at her or her undeserving friends, but if Naruto was going to mess up this prestigious event between all these foreign schools, she would give him such a scolding later. "Nothing, Sakura-chan, nothing at all." he replied nervously with a slight sense of delight. You're sure? You're not thinking of pulling any pranks, right? Cause I swear to the rabbit goddess, Naruto, I promise it's nothing you would object to. I promise. He held up his right arm to make an oath. Promise? She was still unconvinced. May my lips never touch Raymond again. He swore. Sakura was instantly convinced. But that out of the way, the headmaster of Hogwarts, Dumbledore, took the podium as the flames turned from a light blue flame into a deep purple. He took out his wand and gave a great sweeping wave with it. At once, all the candles were extinguished, plunging them into a state of semi-darkness. All eyes were focused on the only source of light left in the room, the goblet of fire. In a flash, it turned bright red and sparks flew out of it. Then a tongue of flame burst out of the goblet and a charred piece of paper fluttered out of it. Dumbledore snatched a piece of parchment out of the air and held it at arm's length so that he could read it by the light of the fire, which had turned back to a white blue. "The champion from Durmstrang," he read, in a strong, clear voice. "Will be Victor Crumb." A storm of applause and cheers swept the hall. Naruto saw who he assumed was Victor Crumb stand up. Even from across the rows of tables, Naruto could see that Victor was thin, dark, and sallow-skinned, with a large curved nose and thick black eyebrows. He was nowhere near bushy brows level though, but that was mostly because he reminded Naruto of an overgrown bird of prey. He slouched over to where Dumbledore was standing, he turned right, walked along the staff table, and disappeared through the door into the next chamber. Over all the cheering, Naruto could still hear Victor's headmaster shouting his approval the loudest. Apparently, Crumb was his favorite. The Sasuke of Durmstrang. Naruto guessed. The applause died down as the goblet turned a dark purple again. And once again, it turned red and spewed out another name for Dumbledore to read aloud. "The champion for Beauxbatons," said Dumbledore, is Fleur Delacour. Once again the halls were filled with applause. Naruto saw what he could only describe as a beautiful girl. She was thin, average height, with silvery blonde hair caressing down her backside. She reminded Naruto a lot of Sakura's friend Ino. Both of them strikingly gorgeous with long blonde hair and both looked like they bathed in the attention of others. "The champion for Hogwarts," Dumbledore began again. Naruto had been so enamored with that Beauxbaton chick's beauty that he hadn't even noticed she had long since left and another champion was being chosen, is Cedric Diggory. The halls then exploded with cheer, mostly coming from the table with all the kids in yellow. Of course, this was the home team player, of course he would get the most applause. From what Naruto could tell, he looked like an extremely handsome boy. Probably another Sasuke. Naruto thought, judging by the way all the girls from his table were swooning over him. Even a few girls from the other house tables were batting their eyelashes at him. Definitely another Sasuke. As Cedric left the Great Hall, another name came out of the goblet. It was down to either of the two Asian schools now. "The champion for Kame," Dumbledore said, is Vidal Satan. Not to be outdone by all the other schools, the martial arts academy students burst out into a roar of applause. "Yeah, Vidal." One of them shouted above all others, but Naruto didn't get a good look at him. Vidal stood up with pride and walked confidently towards Dumbledore and then through the door. She was a little taller than Sakura with her same firecracker attitude. You could tell just by the way she walked. Her hair was short, black, and relatively unkempt, like she only fussed with it when she needed to. A real tomboy. Naruto figured. Finally, it was the Hidden Leaf's turn. The moment of truth. For a brief moment, Naruto couldn't help but ponder what if. If he did have the balls to put his own name into the goblet and he was selected as his school's champion, what could have happened? He imagined his whole class cheering him on as he overcame each of the tasks with ease. Sakura-chan watching him every step of the way. Slowly realizing her feelings for him as she falls in love with him. "Yeah right, while I'm dreaming, I'd like a sea of Raymond, a chance to meet my parents, and to not have a demon sealed inside me that ostracizes me from the rest of the village." The champion for the Hidden Leaf is Naruto Uzumaki. Dumbledore shouted as the hall roared with applause for a final time. "Wait, what? Naruto Uzumaki?" Dumbledore called out again, hoping he got the name right. "Naruto. You were chosen. Get up there." Sakura hissed. Naruto looked back at Sakura in disbelief. All his classmates looked at him with a mix of disbelief and envy. Sasuke just looked at Naruto like he would a dog that didn't use the backyard. Naruto turned away and quickly sat up. Thankfully the applause from the other schools was still ongoing. Naruto headed to the front of the hall without making a fool of himself. "Make your way through that door over there, Mr. Uzumaki." Dumbledore ordered as he motioned to the door in question. Naruto did just as he instructed. He was so nervous he couldn't even appreciate the unique European castle interior. The whole place felt like one long dungeon compared to the colorful paper and wood interiors from back home. He opened another door and in there he found Cedric, Vidal, Fleur and Crumb all standing around the trophy room's fireplace. The burning logs giving off a soothing crackle. "So you're the last champion?" Vidal asked. "Huh? Oh, yeah, I don't know how. I never even put my name in the goblet." Naruto answered, getting out of his daze of shock. "And yet you were chosen?" Cedric asked. That is very odd, Fleur stated. You must have a really good friend who believes in you. Cedric said. I don't know, Naruto paused when he realized the one person who could have done this. Sakura-chan, it must have been her, but why? Sakura-chan? Is that your girlfriend? Vidal asked. No, but I wish she was, Naruto said sadly. Oh my god, that is adorable. Fleur exclaimed, much to Naruto's embarrassment. Unrequited feelings I assume. Vidal guessed, Naruto nodding softly. Oh dear, Fleur gasped. That's rough, I know what it's like. Cedric said. Not me and I don't care. The last thing I need to worry about is love. Vidal stated coldly. Naruto was about to snap back until they heard the door open behind him. It was that Hogwarts kid that Naruto had seen at the opening feast. The kid with the cool lightning-shaped scar and the glasses. He looked rather nervous. Was he here to fetch them or something? Harry? Cedric asked. What are you doing here? I was chosen. Harry said nervously. What? But that's not possible. Vidal exclaimed. Naruto was ready to agree, but he didn't get the chance. At that moment, there was an argument breakout out in the hallway that grew louder and louder until the doors burst open and the man introduced as some retired and famous athlete from Britain came in. Extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary. The smiling man beamed as he squeezed Harry's arm. Gentlemen. Ladies, he added, approaching the fireside and addressing the other three. May I introduce incredible though it may seem the sixth Quint Wizard champion. Victor Crumb straightened up. His surly face darkened as he surveyed Harry. Cedric looked nonplussed. He looked from Bagman to Harry and back again, as though sure he must have misheard what Bagman had said. Fleur Delacour, however, tossed her hair, smiling, and said, oh, very funny joke, Mr. Bagman. Joke? Bagman repeated, bewildered. No, not at all. Harry's name just came out of the goblet of fire. Crumb's thick eyebrows contracted slightly. Cedric was still looking politely bewildered. Fleur frowned. But evidently there has been a mistake, she said contemptuously to Bagman. He cannot compete. He is too young. Well. It is amazing, said Bagman, rubbing his smooth chin and smiling down at Harry. But, as you know, the age restriction was only imposed this year as an extra safety measure. And as his name's come out of the goblet. I don't think there can be any ducking out at this stage, it's down in the rules, you're obliged. Harry will just have to do the best he. The door behind them opened again, and a large group of people came in. Professor Dumbledore, followed closely by Mr. Crouch, Professor Karkaroff, Madame Maxim, Lady Tsunade, Master Roshi, Professor McGonagall, and Professor Snape. Harry heard the buzzing of the hundreds of students on the other side of the wall before Professor McGonagall closed the door. Madame Maxim, said Fleur at once, striding over to her headmistress. They are saying that this little boy is to compete also. Yeah, what the heck, master? I thought only one champion per school was allowed. Vidal exclaimed. It is true. The Goblet of Fire was meant to ensure just that would happen. So it should be impossible for Hogwarts to be granted a second champion. Roshi said. But I didn't put my name in though. Harry spoke up. Then perhaps someone else put your name in the cup. Roshi mused. Sure, like one of the boys' professors. Professor Karkaroff said accusingly. Then how do you explain me? I didn't put my name in the cup. Naruto countered. Naruto, hush. Tsunade ordered. We have more pressing matters to deal with. I don't like your tone. Professor McGonagall snapped at Karkaroff. Are you insinuating that Hogwarts cheated somehow? You have to admit that it doesn't look good on your end. Lady Tsunade said. Hogwarts now has 2 champions. If this is Hogwarts' attempt to cheat, it's very obvious and in poor taste. I agree. It's too obvious. Roshi added. That are you two going on about? Madame Maxim spoke. Obviously this is just Hogwarts trying to ensure 2 pieces of Z-pie. Something doesn't add up. Vidal mused, her detective side leaking out. Harry, you didn't put your name in the goblet. It was impossible for you to do so. Naruto said he didn't put his name in the cup, yet he was chosen as well. However, I did witness him putting in a name. So you two are conspiring together. Fleur deduced. What? No, I didn't put his name in. I've never even met the guy. Naruto defended. Then whose name did you put in? Tsunade demanded. What does it matter? Naruto said embarrassed, this was Sakura's personal mentor he was talking to. Forget it, we can discuss this later. Lady Tsunade sighed. Otter obviously put his own name in. Karkaroff said. Not possible. Dumbledore put an age restriction barrier around the goblet. Roshi interjected. Jenna's charm obviously failed. Madame Maxim said. It is entirely possible. Dumbledore humbly offered. No, it is not. Professor McGonagall snapped. I don't know how Mr. Potter got his name into the goblet, but no one under 17 could have done it. It matters not how it happened. Barty started. The goblet has chosen him. Despite his age, he is a tournament champion. As is stated in the binding contract of the Goblet of Fire. This is completely unfair. Karkaroff complained. The rules are absolute. Potter is to compete. Barty stated firmly, leaving no room for further argument. All eyes turned on Harry. Naruto didn't know what to make of this. A second Hogwarts champion. And he himself was chosen as well. He didn't put his name in. He was half sure that he didn't even want to be his school's champion. Was someone putting people's names into the goblet as a prank? But that being said, you champions are entitled to some information regarding the first challenge. Barty Crouch said. The 6 champions leaned forward. The first task will be on November 24th. Prepare for anything. Crouch said. That's it? Naruto asked. That is all I am allowed to give you. Good luck, champions. Barty said. What? So, this could be a pie-eating contest for all we know. Vidal exclaimed. It's far more dangerous than a simple pie-eating contest. But if it were, the aliens Goku and Gohan would perform perfectly. Barty stated simply. Aliens? Harry asked. How did you know? Vidal stammered in shock. My dear, even the secrets of ninjas do not get past the Ministry of Magic. Barty scoffed. Lady Tsunade smirked behind Barty's back. In any case. Just know that whatever the task may be, it will not be for the faint of heart. The Quint Wizard tasks are designed to test your wit and your ability to adapt to anything. So what now? Cedric asked. Now you may return to your beds and tomorrow, you begin preparing for the first exam. Remember, you 6 stand alone. No teachers may assist you in preparing for the trials. Bagman said. What happens if we fail one of the trials? Naruto asked. The only way you fail is if one of you dies. Barty said, making Harry gulp. But not to worry. Bagman smiled. Every safety protocol has been made and experienced wizards will step in if it is determined that you cannot complete the task. So fear's a threat of death, but you don't want us to worry about it, right? Vidal guessed. Pretty much, yes. Bagman nodded. Yup, nothing out of the ordinary. Vidal said as she cracked her neck. Very well. Have a pleasant night. And we shall see you bright and early on the morning of the 24th of November. Bagman smiled. Just like that. The champions split up. Harry and Cedric stayed behind. Madame Maxim and Fleur headed back to their carriage speaking in rapid French. Professor Karkaroff and Crumb returned to their ship in silence. Leaving Master Roshi, Vidal, Lady Tsunade and Naruto to head back for the woods in relative silence. You look rather young for a headmistress. Roshi commented to Tsunade, trying to strike up conversation. Don't be fooled. She's using a jutsu to hide her appearance. Naruto said before getting smacked upside the head. Don't be saying unnecessary things, brat. Tsunade lectured. Wait, it's a farce. Vidal asked in awe. Tsunade sighed. No, it's an ninjutsu technique. So how old are you really? And, how did you get boobs that big? Don't they hurt your back? Vidal asked. A tick began to form on Tsunade's forehead next to her diamond seal. It's not polite to ask a lady her age, you know. Hey, in case you weren't aware, I'm a woman too. Vidal pointed out. That doesn't make it any less rude. And there are 2 men walking besides us. Tsunade said. I expected better manners from you Chinese. I was just curious is all. Vidal said before hearing Roshi chuckle. What? Is something amusing to you, old man? Tsunade snapped. The Yaojins are so quick to anger these days. You need to learn how to relax once in a while. Roshi said. It'll relax once I'm back at camp with some warm sake in my belly. This whole Potter fiasco threw a monkey wrench into everything. So, it would seem, but I suspect a darker force at work here. Roshi mused. So, you're not one bit suspicious of this doofus putting a name in the goblet? Vidal asked. Hey. If you must know, I put Sakura-chan's name on that paper. Naruto snapped without thinking. The trio looked at the embarrassed blonde. Tsunade had another smirk on her lips that Naruto couldn't see. Roshi was a little confused as he didn't know who this Sakura-chan was. Man, you're hopeless. Vidal said. Hey, it's not like that. Naruto cried. Regardless. One must like you better than you think. Tsunade smirked. My money is on Tenten. Well then it certainly isn't Tenten. Naruto muttered. What was that? Tsunade growled. Naruto gulped. And nothing. Tsunade scoffed before looking to Roshi. Just how old are you anyway, old man? Roshi chuckled. 389 years old. Naruto had to do a double take while Tsunade looked mildly unimpressed. You don't look a day over 250. The techniques my master taught me gave me exceptionally long life. This will also be passed down to my students as well by simply pushing themselves beyond normal human limits. Vidal here has excelled greatly in my teachings. I won't be surprised if she outlives me. Roshi chuckled at the end. Now Vidal did a double take. Whoa, hold on. Older than you? Yup. One day you will look as good as me. Roshi laughed. Why didn't you ever say anything? Vidal exclaimed. You never asked. Roshi shrugged. Well, see how well your longevity helps you in the first task. Naruto will wipe the floor with Videl. Tsunade said, patting Naruto on the back. That pissed Videl off. What did you just say, old lady? A chill in the wind blew past them. Well, nice knowing you. Naruto sighed, slowly edging up against the wall away from the killing field. Just the way Naruto said that made Videl raise her guard. She had a feeling the old headmistress was going to pound her for that. They'll kill you. Tsunade screamed as she launched her fist at the brat who dared call her old. Videl was quick on her feet and counter-attacked. She dodged Tsunade's fist, latched onto her arm and slammed her into the ground with great force. Do not underestimate my master's teachings. Videl warned before continuing on. Wow, she's good. Naruto commented as Tsunade stood up and brushed herself off. Very good. Be sure to avenge me if the first task turns out to be one-on-one combat. Tsunade said good-natured lie while brushing a beetle off of her shoulder. You're taking this rather well. Naruto pointed out. I have to. I have international cooperation to think about. Tsunade said. Let's go. I'm sure your friends will want to celebrate your selection. Somehow I don't see that happening. Lighten up. You want the competition to think that we're all a bunch of sad sacks. The two teacher and student pairs split up. Videl and Rashi headed for a camp of half-dome houses that had cropped up out in the fields of the castle, next to the Quidditch arena, while Naruto and Tsunade headed deep into the Forbidden Forest to their camp. Instead of which, they found a 4-story wooden Japanese-style castle. Here we go, I guess. Naruto thought as they stepped through the door. The room was completely black and as silent as a crypt. Which was weird. Naruto's classmates should have been back by now. Where the hell are they? Naruto asked. Anyways, it's so dark. There was a shuffle, and then a dozen candles flickered to life at once. Confetti was fired into the air, and someone was blowing a party horn. Surprise. The Konoha 16 shouted in unison. Neatly knocking Naruto flat on his butt, covered in confetti. What? Naruto cried in surprise. Congrats, Naruto. Sakura cheered as she ran up and hugged him. The blonde was surprised by the hug, but not as much as he was surprised by the looks of cheer on everyone's faces. Ino, Kiba, Choji, Rock Lee, Tenten, Hinata, even Sai and Shikamaru were cracking smiles. The only ones not smiling were Shino, Niji, Sasuke and his merry trio. But, I don't even know how I was chosen. Naruto stated. Oh, don't worry about that. Sakura waved off. You got your names pulled out of the goblet. Duh. Kiba said. But I didn't put my name in. Naruto clarified. But no one listened to him. Instead someone turned on music and another got the idea to hoist Naruto up by his arms and legs and lift him over everyone's heads. He spent the next few minutes crowd surfing while Choji threw BBQ on the communal fireplace. I don't get it. Why are you guys throwing me a party? Naruto asked. Everyone was sitting around now, passing around drinks while the meat was cooking. Isn't it obvious? Sakura asked. I guess, but I didn't put my name in. I don't know how I got picked. Naruto whispered to Sakura so that no one else could hear. But I watched you put in a name. Sakura pointed out. It wasn't my name. I don't know how my name got in there. Did you put it in? Sakura paused. She was the one who put his name in there, but she couldn't tell him that, or could she? Would he be mad at her? Or will he be accepting of it? There were too many variables to take a risk telling him the truth. No, I didn't. But whose name did you put in? Sakura asked, hoping he bought her lie. No one. Naruto said, too embarrassed to admit he put Sakura's name in, but only to spite Sasuke. What do you mean no one? Sakura asked in confusion. I just, scribbled a nonsense name on my paper, I chickened out from entering. Naruto lied. Sakura gave him a look showing him she wasn't convinced. Just tell me. I won't say anything. Naruto sighed. Yours, okay. I figured that I would give you an edge. Sakura gasped in shock. He put her name in there? Why? She had so many questions that she wanted answers. You put my name in. Yeah. It's no big deal. Naruto shrugged. But, why me? Why me out of the others? Sakura asked. You're my best friend, aren't you? Who else would I pick? Sakura shrugged. Fair point, but you really thought I could do it? Of course, I could. Why? Did you not think you could do it? I didn't want that kind of attention. That's why I didn't put my name in. But we came all this way just to compete. You told me you wanted to compete. Naruto said. I did at first, but after thinking about it, I started to second-guess myself and, well what? Naruto asked. Sakura sighed. I lied to you earlier, Naruto, I put your name in the goblet instead of my own, she said shamefully. You did? Naruto asked. Yes, I knew if anyone could do it, it would be you. That and it would shut the naysayers up. Naysayers? Yes. The people who don't believe in you. As in the people back home. If you can win this, you would gain all of their respect. You'd do that for me? Naruto asked. Of course, I would, I'd do anything for you. You know that. Because we're best friends. Exactly. Naruto smiled, the fact that Sakura would go so far for him, he could always count on her. Meanwhile, at the Kame camp, Vidal was receiving a warm reception as well as some jealous jabs from her best friend. Sorry Arasa. It's just the luck of the draw. Vidal smirked. You're right. I guess we all have to use the gifts God gave us. You have your luck of the draw and I have my superior looks. Arasa teased. Oh please, Vidal scoffed. What, don't believe me? Arasa asked as she flicked her hair like she was in a shampoo commercial. Vidal rolled her eyes. I could do that too if I felt like it. That doesn't make me look like a model. Vidal, you could do that if you used some conditioner. Arasa sassed. I do use conditioner. I just choose to have my hair tied up like this so it doesn't get in the way. Then you weren't using the right conditioner. Screw you. To be honest, I've never seen you with your hair down, Vidal. Alex commented. Yeah, neither have I come to think of it. Angela added. Well there are times I do when I feel like it. Now is not one of those times. Vidal answered. You mean right after you've been selected as the champion? Cause this seems like the perfect time to celebrate. Arasa said. Vidal sighed. If it's to get you all to shut up. She undid her hair ties that held her pigtails in place and let her hair flowing in the air, running her hand through it a few times to make sure there wasn't any knots before letting it rest on her shoulders. Satisfied. Immeasurably. Arasa smirked. You look beautiful, Vidal, you should leave your hair like that. Alex complimented. Hell no. I need to train and fight. Vidal said. Somehow, I don't think we'll be doing much of that here. Angela stated. What else would we do? Well, what I'm going to do is check out this school some more. See what makes it tick. Besides, we were offered to attend the regularly scheduled classes as guests. Angela stated. I don't see the point. We don't even use wands. Vidal said. Oh come on, it could be fun. Arasa smirked. I hear that wizards are known for their love potions. Perhaps we could crash a potions class and pick up a thing or two. What for? I don't love anyone here. Vidal pointed out. Exactly. I'm going to give you the potion so that y'all stop being such a prune. Arasa threatened. Like hell you will. I don't want love right now. That is the last thing on my mind. Well the rest of us don't have the tournament to worry about anymore. We've got to find something to occupy our time and I'm thinking that our host school has a few dapper boys they could spare. Arasa said with a devilish grin on her lips. Oh my god, I know, right. Did you see that Hogwarts champion? The blonde one? Angela gushed. Then you three have at it. I want nothing to do with it. Vidal firmly said. Not even anyone in our class. Alex asked. Are you kidding me? Dave is an emo dick, Pen is a pussy, Sharpner is an asshole, and Gohan is a mommy's boy nerd. Vidal reminded. Yeah, our own pickings are pretty slim. Angela said as she looked over to the other side of the room where their male classmates were trying to balance party cups on their noses and just ended up spilling them on each other. You gotta admit that Gohan is hot. Arasa pointed out. The FFT, if you say so. I don't see it. Vidal scoffed. What happened between you two? You two used to be such good friends. Arasa demanded. He turned out to be a dweeb. Vidal scoffed. Oh don't give me that. You two were standing side by side to deliver the finishing blow to Cell all those years ago. You liked him then and he was just as much of a nerd then as he is now. So, I'm not buying that excuse. Well then y'all have to go without one. Vidal said, shutting down the conversation and storming off. Arasa yelled some profanities at her, but Vidal didn't care. She refused to bring up this conversation again. Each time drew closer and closer to her admitting the truth. That she felt so betrayed by Gohan back when the two of them fought together to defeat Cell. The years spent training together, countless late night talks up on the roof of Kame Temple, and he couldn't even trust her with his most important secret. How else was she supposed to react when she learned offhandedly that her best friend was half alien? He lied to me. He played me for a fool and made me look weak, Vidal thought sourly, just the thoughts leaving a bitter taste in her mouth. She should have known he was different when she noticed him soaking up all the learning material like a sponge and became top of the class in everything. She struggled to learn all she could and master it, well he had it all down pat in a few days. He always left her in the dust, but at the time, she felt that it was just because his father was helping him. Her own father thought this was just a school of tricksters, so he never even supported her, let alone help her. When the Cell games rolled around, she watched in horror as her father was brushed aside like a fly. But not her. She held her own and quite well against the Cell JRS. But when Gohan transformed before her, that's when she knew he wasn't normal. She could only watch from there as Gohan was nearly killed. And only then did anyone bother to tell her that he was a Saiyan. She didn't have to ask too many questions about what a Saiyan was. Because she lived through the harrowing events that took place when Vegeta and Nappa destroyed what is now Satan City. Despite the fact that Goku was nothing like the Saiyans who attacked East City, she wasn't any less afraid of them. That moment in her childhood scarred her for life. The events with Cell was no different. If anything, she was even more afraid of them. I wish they would just go back to where they came from. Vidal thought. Unfortunately, her wish was nothing more than a pipe dream. Where they came from no longer exists. Their planet was destroyed by an alien tyrant several decades ago. She didn't want them dead, but at the same time, she didn't want them around her or her friends. It'll show them just how powerful a human can be. Vidal thought with absolute certainty. As she thought that, from across the room, another Saiyan was having a little chat with their headmaster. So Goku, sad that your son didn't get in. No, not really. Goku waved off with a grin. You always want to see your own kids win these things, but Vidal would be my second choice. She's smart, powerful, and determined. I agree. I can't believe how far she has come. She's the strongest human alive and she's almost as strong as Gohan. Well, Gohan in his base form. Goku said. Indeed. I have wondered a few times if she had Saiyan blood in her. But the bloodlust for fighting isn't there and both of her parents were human. Rashi mused. She's just very determined. Goku nodded. I've gotten to the point where there is very little I can teach her now. Same with most of the others. I think this is their last year with me. After that, their teachings fall to you. Rashi stated. Hey, don't say that. You sound like one of those death flags in Gohan's books. Goku said. Goku, I'm nearly 400 years old. I can't keep up with these Yonjins anymore. I have decided to retire after their graduation. I'm too old to be teaching new dogs old tricks. My master's training has been passed on to others. So long as they can train future generations, then Mutato's dream will be complete. I see. Goku nodded. I will be honored to take your place. Rashi nodded. Also, be mindful of Vidal. She seems to have a disliking for Saiyans. I know. Although my wife has commented that it has more to do with her shock of finding out that Gohan was a Saiyan and never telling her. Goku said. But I can't imagine why. When Vegeta and Nappa arrived on Earth, she was living in East City when they destroyed it. Rashi explained. That day she was severely traumatized mentally. She's afraid of Saiyans. That's just what my wife told me. Goku raised his hands. So that's why. And yes, she feels betrayed that Gohan kept it a secret from her. Should we intervene? No. Youth will learn better from experiences than lectures from their elders. That's the way it's always been. Rashi chuckled. I say that you keep doing what you're doing. She will come around eventually. I hope so. Goku said as he took a sip of his punch. So what about this Harry Potter kid? You said that someone put his name in the Goblet of Fire. Why? I don't know why. But I read his mind. He never put his name in and he didn't ask anyone to put it in for him. And you don't think it was just to give Hogwarts an edge in the tournament? Goku asked, even if he already knew what his own answer would be. I sensed no deception from the headmaster or the staff. They were just as confused as he was. So, then, who? Who else but Harry benefits from him entering the tournament? Goku asked. I don't know for sure, Rashi mused. You don't have any ideas? None that are worth sharing until I know more. Rashi said, taking a deep drink from his punch glass. I shall speak with Dumbledore in the morning and let you know if we need to concern ourselves. Human juggernaut jutsu. Choji cried before he rolled into a bowl of destruction and barreled right towards an exhausted Naruto. The whiskered ninja forced his fatigue into the back of his mind and crossed his fingers to create a single shadow clone. Choji was almost on the blonde when his clone linked his fingers together to give Naruto a boosted jump over his opponent. Naruto threw some shuriken at Choji's exposed back before he was blindsided by a cloud of Shino's beetles. I think Hess getting better. Ino said to Sakura. You think? I haven't noticed. Sakura said sarcastically. Naruto flashed through his hand signs before cupping his hands over his mouth. Wind style. Air bullets. Naruto thought as he spat out a concentrated burst of wind chakra directly at the beetle swarm, scattering them like a flurry of snow. Did you really put his name in it? Ino asked. Yes, I did. Sakura said without hesitation. Wow, so much for my theory. What? Sakura asked as Naruto engaged with Rock Lee keeping the pressure on him. But you had a crush on him. What? No, I don't. Sakura said. Hess my best friend. I figured when you said you put his name in the cup. I won't do that for Sai. He needs this more than I do, Sakura said sadly. Remembering the looks he still got from passing civilians just by walking down the street. In their own village, only their village. It infuriated her beyond anything. He was the sweetest guy in the world, yet some people just refused to stop clinging to their prejudices. If he could win this tournament and bring glory back to the Leaf Village, maybe that would be enough. Ino saw the look on Sakura's face and smirked. Maybe you do have some feelings for him. Maybe as a brother, Sakura shrugged. Maybe, Ino said. Or something more. Whatever, how are you and Sai doing, by the way? I never expected you to want to go out with a guy with all the emotional capacity of a teaspoon. Sakura said, hoping to turn the conversation away from her love life for once. Hess getting better. Hess not bad in bed either. Ino smirked. You're sleeping with him? Sakura hissed while Naruto fought off Kiba and Akamaru. Well, duh. Why not? We've been dating for 3 months now. Well, at least it's not days. Otherwise, there might be some merit to people calling you the Konoha Academy bicycle. Sakura said. You tell that bitch Ami that at least I'm not the village bicycle. Ino snapped, knowing only her old bully would say that. Of course, she only got more bitter after Sakura and Ino left her in the dust. Sakura snickered. Well, at least you proved her wrong. I would have waited. You're just jealous that you haven't gotten laid yet. Ino smirked. Keep telling yourself that. Sakura sighed as she watched Naruto throw 2 clones at Neji and Hinata to keep them distracted while he faced off against Tenten and her chain sickle, jumping over her sweeping attacks and closing the distance as soon as possible. Naruto held his palms together in a combat stance that Sakura had never seen before. She thought it was a wind-based jutsu, but she didn't notice any hand signs. And Naruto wasn't that quick with his hand signs. Oh, that's right. You're still waiting for Sasuke-kun to finally come around and ask you out. Ino said dramatically. Hush. Naruto is doing something new. Sakura silenced. By the time Naruto had caught up with Tenten, she had switched to what could be said to be a warhammer, but would be more accurately described as a mini fridge on a stick. She swung her mighty hammer at Naruto, intending to knock him out of the fight, but Naruto motioned as if to catch the hammer with his outstretched hands. Idiot, this'll break your arms. Sakura thought before the glowing chakra in Naruto's hands exploded outward, sending a rippling shockwave through Tenten's hammer, smashing it into useless debris. Whoa, I've never seen him do that before. Ino said in awe. Me either. Sakura said in awe as Tenten fell back on her butt. Now I'm having second thoughts on my choice of boyfriends, Ino said, still in shock. Oh, for Sage's sake, Ino. Sakura lectured as she caught a glimpse of Naruto's golden hair catching the light. Naruto has certainly improved. A new voice spoke up. Sakura was broken out of her spell to look behind her where Kakashi-sensei stood, looking like a scarecrow that had always been there. Kakashi-sensei? Is it time for our lessons already? Sakura asked. No. I'm here for Naruto. Kakashi said. For Naruto? What for? Sakura asked. They need him for the weighing of the wands. A traditional private ceremony before the first task of the Triwizard tournament starts properly. Oh shit. He told me about that. Sakura exclaimed before facing his direction. Naruto. Get over here. I didn't do it. Naruto cried, knowing that tone was only used when Sakura caught him pulling a prank she didn't approve of. Weighing of the wands, baka. Oh shit. Naruto cried. The what? Kiba asked. Never you mind. Sakura ordered. Naruto, go. She jabbed her finger at the castle. Wasting no time, Naruto leaped away from his sparring partners and towards the castle. He tore through the fields and entered the halls of the castle. Which way to the wand weighing? Naruto asked himself. It's that way. The portrait of a man in a blue jacket said, pointing down the hallway. Whoa. Thanks, mister, Naruto said in shock. Never mind me. You're going to be late. The portrait man said. Thank you. Naruto said, before leaping off towards his destination. On his way, he jumped over 3 groups of Hogwarts students walking through the halls and 1 group of giggling girls that he sailed over. The girls clapped at his performance and he gave them a friendly wave before arriving at the same door where he was first sent as a champion. There you are, Naruto. Lady Tsunade greeted him at the door. Sorry, I forgot about this and got caught up in training. Naruto said sheepishly. Better late than never, even if you are the last one here. Tsunade said as she led him inside where Naruto could see all the different headmasters, bagmen, a wizard photographer, judging by how often he took his hands off of his camera and it kept levitating in place, and all the different champions having private chats with their respective headmasters. Except for, where is that Potter kid? Did he drop out? Naruto asked. No, he was just here. Tsunade said in confusion as she looked around for him. Naruto looked around and saw Dumbledore chatting with another old man that Naruto hasn't noticed before. He was balding with gray hair, and if Naruto had to guess he would say that the man was a shoemaker. The man motioned at Naruto, and Dumbledore looked back with a smile on his face. Who is that? Naruto asked. Ah, Mr. Uzumaki. Good to see you. Now we can begin. Dumbledore said as he walked over to the nearby broom closet and opened the doors, revealing inside to be Harry Potter and a woman in 80s fashion sitting together. Ah, Rita Seeker. I believe we need Harry back now. Dumbledore politely requested. Before she could answer, Harry was scrambling to get out. Okay, Naruto said as Dumbledore and the woman had a quick but friendly conversation. Sorry, I just had to get away from her. Harry said. What the hell were you doing in there with her? Naruto asked, fearing the worst. She wanted to interview me. But it was more of a one-sided interview. Why would she want to interview you in a broom closet? I don't know. The other champions were now sitting in chairs near the door, and so the two of them took it as their cue to sit down as well. Harry sat down quickly next to Cedric, while Naruto sat next to Vidal. They all looking up at the velvet-covered table, where 6 of the 7 judges were now sitting: Professor Karkaroff, Madame Maxim, Lady Tsunade, Master Roshi, Mr. Crouch, and Ludo Bagman. Rita Skeeter settled herself down in a corner. Harry saw her slip the parchment out of her bag again, spread it on her knee, suck the end of the Quickquotes quill, and place it once more on the parchment. "May I introduce Mr. Ollivander?" said Dumbledore, taking his place at the judges' table and talking to the champions. "He will be checking your wands to ensure that they are in good condition before the tournament." Vidal raised her hand. "And what if I don't have a wand?" "Those who don't have wands need merely to demonstrate any form of magic. In your case, Miss Satan, you and Mr. Uzumaki will just have to demonstrate what your powers can do," Dumbledore explained. "Ah, thank you," Vidal said, now wondering what exactly she could show that would qualify as magic and what she should keep under wraps until the tasks. Hell's grenade would blow this place up. I suppose I could use the multiform technique," Vidal thought. Meanwhile, Naruto was having similar thoughts. "I could use air bullet, but that would cause quite a bit of damage. I could use shadow clones. Oh wait, stealth jutsu. Yeah, that's perfect. Those who have wands, please form a line in front of us and we will inspect your wands one at a time," Dumbledore instructed. "Let's start with ladies first." Ollivander spoke. "Mademoiselle Delacour, could we have your wand first?" As he stepped into the empty part of the room, Fleur stepped forward, her hair bouncing with each step, giving off a scent that reminded Naruto of strawberries and cherry blossoms. Thankfully Tsunade slapped him lightly upside the head to snap him out of his trance. Fleur handed the wand maker her wand and he carefully inspected it. He said. He twirled the wand between his long fingers like a baton and it emitted a number of pink and golden sparks. Then he held it close to his eyes and examined it carefully. "Yes," he said quietly. 9.5 inches, inflexible, rosewood, and containing, dear me, an air from Zed of Avila," Fleur said. "One of my grandmothers." Naruto blinked, looking over at Vidal who looked equally confused by what Avila was, and then to Harry, who seemed to be having his own aha moment. "Do you have any idea what he's talking about?" Naruto whispered to Vidal. "Not a clue," Vidal whispered back. "Do you?" Naruto then asked Harry. "Do I what?" Harry asked. "What he's talking about," Vidal clarified. "Do?" Ollivander. "No. The girl, what's Avila?" Naruto hissed. "They are, I think, seductive magical water creatures," Harry said, going off of what little he actually knew about Avila. "Is Satan?" "You're next," Dumbledore called. "What? Already?" Vidal asked, not expecting to be called up so soon. "Yes, please step forward." Dumbledore motioned. Vidal nervously walked up to the front of them, unsure if the multiform would be good enough. "Wait a minute, idiot. I do have a wand," Vidal thought as she remembered that her entire class had gotten some lessons from Rasha's sister Baba. "Excuse me, but I just remembered that I had received some Western magical training from a witch known as Fortune Teller Baba. I can use some of her spells," Vidal informed. "So you do have a wand?" Ollivander asked. Yes, let me see if I have it," Vidal said as she looked through her guy and pulled out a strange metal case. She opened it to reveal several pill-looking items inside it. "Let's see, here it is," she said before taking out the strange device. She pushed the plunger down and tossed it on the floor. It exploded into smoke and revealed a small chest. "What manner of sorcery is this?" Bagman asked. "Technology, not magic." "One moment." Vidal spoke as she searched her chest until she pulled out a 12-inch wand. There you are." Ollivander took her wand in his hands and inspected it closely. "Interesting wand, 12 inches, inflexible redwood, very nice. The core, I'm not familiar with this. It feels extremely powerful. It's made of the heartstring from Shenron, the immortal dragon. Or so I'm told," Vidal informed, making the veteran wizards go wide-eyed in shock. "Shenron? Zevish granting dragon." Madame Maxim breathed, making Fleur look at her like she said something ridiculous like wish-granting dragon. "The very same." Rashi nodded proudly. Ollivander said as he pointed the wand upwards and muttered a soft incendio. The wand shot forward a torrent of flames. "Reduco." Ollivander cried as everyone took cover. The flames died as Naruto kept clutching his head. My, this is an exceptionally powerful wand, Miss Satan. Almost too powerful," Ollivander said in a mix of horror and joy. "Yes, that's why I don't use it too often," Vidal said shakily. "I'm sure you just need proper training with it," Dumbledore said as he pulled out a wand unlike anything anyone had ever seen. "We tend to focus more on physical and mental training that wand work," Rashi admitted. "Nevertheless, I'm no stranger to powerful wands. During her stay, I can give her lessons to control it," Dumbledore offered. "I'm afraid you can't," Not during this competition. Bagman said. Thank you though. Vidal said. But I won't be using my wand in the competition anyway. Then what will you be using? Ollivander asked. Vidal smirked and held up her hands. My fists. Can you perform magic without your wand? You could call it magic. Vidal said before crossing her arms in front of her and creating 3 copies of herself. The younger wizards all gasped at this new display of magic, except for one. You know the shadow clone jutsu? Naruto asked. Multiform, not shadow clones. Vidal corrected. What's the difference? Naruto asked. If I recall what I've heard about shadow clones, they take a small fraction of your energy to create one and they disappear after one hit. One of the Vidal copies said. This form splits my energy evenly among my copies, enabling them to take multiple hits until I bring them back into my being. Another copy stated. And if I kill one? Naruto asked, intrigued. They turn back into the energy I used to create them and return to my body. No way. Do you retain the memories that they have? Naruto asked. Our consciousness is collective. We all know what the other is thinking, but we can act on our own. With this form, it creates a stable mental link where it just takes a thought to tell my copies what to do. The real Vidal said. Awesome. Naruto said before Vidal undid her technique. Thank you Miss Satan. Dumbledore said. I believe that will be sufficient. Thank you sir. Vidal bowed before letting the next champion go. Mr. Diggory. Ollivander said and Cedric stepped forward to produce his wand. Ah, now, this is one of mine, isn't it? Mr. Ollivander said with much more enthusiasm as Cedric handed over his wand. Yes, I remember it well. Containing a single hair from the tail of a particularly fine male unicorn, must have been 17 hands, nearly gored me with his horn after I plucked his tail. 12¼ inches, ash, pleasantly springy. It's in fine condition, you treat it regularly? Polished it last night. Cedric said, grinning. Naruto felt the sensation of Harry rubbing his wand next to him. Then golden sparks shot out of his end and hit Naruto's pant leg. Dude. Naruto whispered. Mr. Crumb, if you please. Ollivander spoke. Victor Crumb got up and slouched round-shouldered and duck-footed towards Mr. Ollivander. He thrust out his wand and stood scowling, with his hands in the pockets of his robes. Mr. Ollivander said. This is a Grigorovich creation, unless I'm much mistaken. A fine wand maker, though the styling is never quite what I, however. He lifted the wand and examined it minutely, turning it over and over before his eyes. Yes, hornbeam and dragon heartstring. He shot at Crumb, who nodded. Rather thicker than one usually sees, quite rigid, 10¼ inches, Avis. The hornbeam wand let off a blast like a gun, and a number of small twittering birds flew out of the end and through the open window into the watery sunlight. Good. Mr. Ollivander said, handing the wand back to Crumb. Now that leaves Mr. Potter and Mr. Uzumaki. They'll go. But I don't have a wand either. Naruto said. Unless you want to see one of my kunai. That won't be necessary. Mr. Ollivander reassured. Just a simple demonstration of ninjutsu will suffice. A simple demonstration, huh? Naruto said, thinking long and hard. He wasn't exactly the master of 1,000 jutsus, so it shouldn't be tough. Then again, there was something to be said about the intimidation tactic, although Naruto bit his thumb enough to draw blood and began flashing through hand signs slowly enough that everyone could observe. Summoning jutsu. Naruto cried as he slammed his palms into the ground, creating a cloud of smoke. When the smoke dissipated, there was a tiny toad sitting in the middle of the room with a cute little vest. Hi-de-ho. The toad waved. Astounding, Ollivander gasped. The rest of the wizards looked equally impressed. Cedric, Fleur and Crumb were giving their full attention. Vidal was looking amazed. Okay Gamatatsu, thanks, I just needed a demonstration. Naruto said before clapping his hands and sending his summons back to Mount Myaboku. Tsunade just looked at Naruto with a stare that said, we'll talk about this later. And finally, Mr. Potter. Ollivander said. Harry got to his feet and walked past Naruto to Mr. Ollivander. He handed over his wand. Yes. Mr. Ollivander said, his pale eyes suddenly gleaming. Yes. How will I remember, 11 inches long, holly, with a phoenix tail core. Naruto could swear that Harry grimaced when Ollivander mentioned that last part. After a long time examining Harry's wand, Ollivander finally made it shoot out a jet of wine before declaring it in perfect working order. Thank you all. Dumbledore said, standing up from the judge's table. You may go back to your lessons now or perhaps it would be quicker just to go down to dinner as they are about to end. Photos, Dumbledore, photos. Bagman cried excitedly. All the judges and champions. What do you think Rita? Rita Skeeter smiled. Oh, that sounds like a lovely idea. Although, she said as she eyed Harry. Perhaps we could also get some individual shots. The group shot is fine. Dumbledore said. But Rita would not be denied. After several minutes of posing and reposing. Rita's photographer had taken photos of all the champions and the judges, both in groups and individually. They finally had to call it quits after the photographer got a bit too liberal with the definition of candid shots of Headmistress Lady Tsunade. Alright, that's quite enough. Come on, Naruto. Lady Tsunade said as she led Naruto back out to the hallway by the scruff of his neck. Ow. That hurts. Naruto protested. Quit your whining. I didn't want any dawdling from you. Tsunade said as they rounded a few corners until they finally came to a stop where she thought they could speak in private. Just what the hell was that earlier? Tsunade demanded. Summoning jutsu? Naruto said in confusion. Don't give me that. You summoned a toad, Naruto. Tsunade said. So you and I both know there is only one person who could teach you that summoning contract. Tsunade accused, staring Naruto dead in the eye. Naruto, on his part, did not back down. That's how you've been getting so good. That's where you've been running off in secret too. To receive training from him. So what if I have? Hess the only family I have left. Naruto snapped. What about Karen? She's family and she is an orphan too. Tsunade pointed out. She didn't have a demon inside her. Naruto hissed, lest they be overheard. So as far as I'm concerned, Pervy Sage is my only family. Some family. Tsunade said. Hey. My parents named him my godfather. He became my father after my parents died and he will remain so. And I don't care what you or anyone else thinks about him. Naruto said firmly. Kid, the third Hokage raised you more than your godfather did. I raised you more than he did. Hess bad news. I don't care. Naruto said defiantly. Tsunade just sighed. Listen brat. No one this side of the world will care about it, but when word gets back home that you are being trained by him, well you know better than anyone that your reputation is bad enough as it is. And like I said, I don't care what anybody thinks. They want to give me shit about who I hang around with, fine. He'll just leave like he did. And leave behind Sakura? Tsunade asked. Naruto's face softened before looking away. I'm sure she would understand if I left. Don't make empty threats, brat. It's beneath you. Tsunade said, knowing that Naruto was just trying to argue for the sake of arguing. They both knew how high up Sakura was on his totem pole. Just be careful. Any shit that rolls down here from the village, Sakura will be right there to bear it with you. So, don't give them any more dung to throw. Why do you care so much? Naruto asked. Why indeed? Tsunade growled as she turned to leave, privately remembering a similar argument she once had with her younger brother. You wanna know something? When I took her under my wing, you were the constant subject of conversation. Not her parents, not Ino, you. Yeah, because we're best friends. We've been best friends since the first grade. Naruto said. Is that so? Tsunade said, sounding not as convinced as when Sakura had told her that same line. Tsunade turned away. Better for the two of them to figure it out on their own for her to interfere. Stupid young love. I'm headed back. That reporter lady makes me want to take a shower. Don't be late to dinner. Tsunade ordered. Yeah, okay. I just have to check something. Naruto said as he looked behind him ever so slightly. Our conversation wasn't very private. I noticed. Try not to rough him up too bad. It'll be a whole lot of pain in my ass otherwise. Tsunade said before she vanished in a whirl of leaves. I know you're there. Come out now. Naruto demanded as he secretly held a kunai in his hand. A few seconds later, that Potter kid stepped out from behind the corner. Giving Naruto flashbacks of a certain Hyuga from back in the day. Hi. Harry said sheepishly. Harry? Why were you eavesdropping? Naruto demanded. I wasn't, exactly. I was headed this way, and you two didn't sound like you wanted to be interrupted. Harry tried to explain. What all did you hear? Naruto asked hesitantly as he put his kunai away. Nothing important. Harry reassured. Naruto just stared at him intently, like he could see right through him. Yeah, we're gonna have to do better than that if you want to lie to a ninja. I wasn't lying. Come on, Harry, I can see right through you. Come on, you can tell me. Naruto urged. Harry sighed, try as he might, he actually believed Naruto. There was something about his eyes that reassured Harry. They were familiar. He saw them every time he looked in the mirror. I overheard you talking about your godfather. Apparently, he isn't well liked back where you come from. Oh that's because, well, let's just say Hess done some questionable things in the past. Questionable things? Like what? Harry pried. Well, nothing terrible, depending on who you ask. Many women would say otherwise. I see, Harry said, a little weirded out by what could be questionably terrible. Hess been training me though. In secret, of course. It's still nice just to be taught by family, you know. I won't know. I was raised by my aunt and uncle who hate me. Hate you? They're your family. How can they hate you? Naruto asked astonished. They're muggles. And generally nasty people all around. So, they hate all kinds of magic, which I happen to possess. Harry said. Oh come on, how bad can they be? Naruto asked. I spent 11 years of my life as their servant basically, and my bedroom was a cupboard under the stairs, so you tell me. What? What kind of shit is that? Naruto exclaimed. Exactly what I told you. And your parents? Where are they? Naruto asked. They were killed when I was a baby. Damn, you too. Hang on, your parents were killed? Harry asked. Yeah. There was this demon attack on my village the day I was born. My parents died fighting that night, trying to protect the village. Naruto said. Bloody hell, Harry said in horror. Yeah, Minato Namikaze and Kashina Uzumaki. You took your mum's name? Didn't have a choice. The third Hokage gave me her name for my own protection. How come? Harry asked. I'd rather not say. My parents died protecting me from Lord Voldemort. I was 1 year old. Harry said without thinking. It was so weird telling someone else this story. Usually everyone else already knew this story better than him. Old, what? Who is he? Naruto asked. Voldemort, Naruto's demon exclaimed inside his mind. What do you want now, Fox? I'm in the middle of something. Naruto thought. Brat, Voldemort is a powerful sorcerer. He killed thousands in his wake. His deeds were so terrible that even we demons in the east got word of him. No way. Naruto thought. Yes. Supposedly he was killed. If the rumors are true, the boy standing before you is the one who killed him. He was this really evil wizard who terrorized the wizarding world before I was even born. I'm surprised that you've never heard of him. Usually everyone I meet knows more about him than I do. Harry said. Naruto only just paid attention in time. You killed him. Naruto said absent-mindedly. That's what everyone says. But I can't remember how. Harry admitted. Supposedly I got hit with one of Voldemort's spells, but it backfired. He got killed and I got this scar. Harry said as he moved his hair back to show his famous lightning bolt scar. That's, wow, Naruto was going to say awesome, but that felt like saying that his seal that trapped the demon fox inside of him was cool. Yeah, did you get your scars from the night the demon attacked? Harry asked. Scars? You know. Harry traced 3 fingers over his left cheek. Oh. Yeah, I guess so. I've always had them. I thought they were birthmarks, but they could be scars. Naruto said, suddenly feeling self-conscious about his cheeks. Then his thoughts inevitably turned elsewhere. Heh. Naruto chuckled. What? Harry asked. You know what this means? No, not really. We're scar buddies. Naruto smirked. Harry blinked. Scar buddies? Yeah. We've both got face scars. We're scar buddies. Naruto smirked as he pat Harry on the back. I guess so. Harry said, a little confused as to what Naruto meant. But he was pretty sure that he just made a friend. I like you, Harry. We should hang out. Naruto decided. How about we get some dinner first? Harry suggested. Now you're talking. I'm starved. Naruto declared. Over in the dining hall, dinner was fully underway. Each of the 4 guest schools were seated at one of the 4 respective house tables. The Durmstrang kid sat with Slytherin, the Beauxbaton student sat down at the Ravenclaw table, the Cambridge students were seated at the Hufflepuff table, and the Konoha students were seated with the Gryffindors. Sakura herself was on the far end of the table, along with the rest of the Konoha, a few seats away from any of the Hogwarts kids. With the exception of Sasuke's little group, who always seemed to have 1 or 2 female admirers checking him out. Sakura sat next to Ino and Kiba, the latter of whom was busy non-subtly passing table scraps to Akamaru, while Sakura and Ino were busy chatting. I don't have a crush on him, pig. How many times do I have to tell you this? Sakura hissed, getting annoyed with her friend's constant pestering of her love life. Fine, whatever. Just tell me that again when the Yule Ball comes around. Ino shrugged. Ball? What ball? I wasn't told this. Sakura asked. Forehead, everyone was told about this. Why do you think we were told to bring dresses? Ino pointed out. Shit, that's right, with everything going on, it slipped my mind. Sakura cursed. That was a majorly important event during this tournament. How could she forget? And I bet you still haven't asked anyone yet, have you? No, I haven't. Sakura scoffed. Well, you better get on it. I'm going with Sai, Hinata is probably going to ask Naruto, and Tenten is more than likely to go with Niji. That leaves Choji, Shikamaru, Kiba, Shino and Lee. Not counting Jugo, Sasuke and Sujetsu. I see, Sakura said. So read any good books lately? She said, desperate to change the subject. Oh, for Sage's sake, forehead. Can't you just give in and talk about guys with me? Ino whined. No. That's all we ever talk about. I want to talk about something different. Sakura said. But the Beauxbaton boys look so handsome and I want to talk about the Cambridge students bench pressing 5 logs at once. Ino whined. Alright, fine. Sakura sighed. I'll relent with you on the Cambridge students. That one guy, I think his name was Gohan, has hot. I'll give you that. Thank you. Ino sighed. Yeah, has kinda hot. But I was talking about that other beefcake. What was his name? With the long blonde hair. I don't know his name. But I hear has a real jerk. Nah, he strikes me more as a bad boy. If you say so. I still can't believe that little girl made Lady Tsunade seem like a joke when she body slammed her. Ino spit out her water. She what? You didn't hear? Lady Tsunade tried to punch Vidal for calling her old and she grabbed her arm and slammed her into the ground like it was nothing. Ino turned around to view the CAME students chatting and eating, having found a new respect for their training. Sage of Six Paths, Ino gasped. Seriously? Makes you wonder if we are completely outclassed. Sakura said. If one girl can do that to a Sannin, man, I cold imagine what they are really capable of. I just hope that Naruto will be okay if he has to face her in the first task. Sakura said. Speaking of which, is that Naruto with that Potter kid? Ino asked. What? Sakura asked before looking towards the door. Sure enough, Naruto was walking in with that hairy kid close by. The two of them appeared to joking around like they were two old buddies meeting up after so long. Isn't that the other Hogwarts champion? Ino asked. Yeah it is. Sakura smiled. Leave it to Naruto to make unexpected friends. So long as it's not in our village. Kiba muttered. Is it me or are the other tables giving the two of them some looks? Choji pointed out. What do you mean? Ino asked. Well just look at them. Shikamaru said, pointing to all the tables that were in Gryffindor. A lot of kids from Hogwarts were giving the two of them stink eyes and occasionally flashing these nasty green buttons at the two of them. Sakura had to squint to see the words Potter stinks on a nearby Hufflepuff's badge, which quickly warped into saying support Cedric Diggory, the true Hogwarts champion. What the hell is wrong with these people? Sakura hissed. They think Harry cheated. Shikamaru spoke. Which given the circumstances, I don't blame them in the slightest. Well there was only supposed to be one champion from each school. Woes to say that he didn't cheat. Kiba said as he fed Akamaru's sausage. Lady Tsunade said that he didn't. And her word should be good enough for you. Tenten spoke. Whatever the case, Sakura thought, the two of them seemed to be getting along so well that it hardly mattered to Sakura. So long as Naruto was happy. Isn't he sitting down too early? Sai pointed out as Naruto sat down with a couple of Gryffindors. Why? Ino asked. What is that idiot doing? Sakura snapped. Naruto was currently letting Harry introduce him to his best friend who was still talking to him. Naruto found himself standing in front of a girl the same age as Harry, with curly brown hair and more open books surrounding her than food at the feast. Hi, you must be Hermione. Naruto. I am. Pleasure to meet you. Hermione said as she extended out her hand, looking a little unsure of herself. Is that rotisserie chicken? I am starving. Naruto said as he sat down and helped himself. Not to be rude, but how come you're over here instead of with your school? Hermione asked, retracting her hand. Oh, they won't mind. I'm just hanging out with my new buddy Harry. Naruto said as he grabbed himself a piping hot chicken leg. He also said that he would let me join him on a couple of his classes. I figured what the heck. When in England, do as the English do. Naruto said excitedly with chicken in his mouth. Right. Well, the invitation to join our classes is for all guest school students. Hermione pointed out. Yeah, I don't think any of my classmates have shown an interest. At least not as far as I've seen. Naruto said. We ninja get most of our schooling done by the time we are 12. Everything after that is going on missions. Missions? Harry asked. Yeah. People and governments ask us for protection or dealing with some bad guys. Sometimes we have to spy on some people or steal some stuff back. Typical soldier things. Naruto said. At such a young age. That's completely barbaric. Hermione exclaimed. I mean we start us with small jobs. Naruto defended. First year genin are usually stuck doing odd jobs around the village. The most action they'll ever see is escorting some merchant and protecting him from highway bandits and rowdy drunks. So, like an auror? Harry asked. Auror? Naruto asked. Dark wizard catchers. Our defense against the dark arts professor is one. Professor Moody. Harry said. No way. I'd love to take a class with him. See how you wizards fight. Naruto said. We really don't do much in the line of fighting per se. Hermione said. What? Then how do you defend yourselves? You'll just have to see for yourself. Hermione said simply. Definitely. Naruto said as he noticed something out of the corner of his eye. A pink-haired girl with her fists digging into her hips. Hey, Sakura-chan. Don't hate me. Why are you over here? Oh, I was just getting to know my new buddy Harry and his friends. Naruto said. Come on, sit down. If you weren't aware, you and Harry are getting a lot of nasty stares. Sakura pointed out. We are? Naruto asked as he sat down to see a lot of backs turned away from him. Save for a group of Slytherin fourth years. You did when you came in. Sakura added. Because they think Harry cheated. But he didn't. Hermione spoke. Is it about the whole second Hogwarts champion thing? Naruto asked. That does contribute to it, but that's not the real reason. Everyone thinks Harry cheated to get in the tournament. Hermione said. But I didn't. Harry insisted. I don't even want to be in the damn tournament. Not to mention, you're underage. Sakura reminded. So then how did you get chosen? Naruto asked. I don't know, Harry sighed, so tired of having to repeat himself. Was it you? Naruto asked Hermione. Naruto, she couldn't have done it either. Sakura spoke. I'm a fourth year like Harry. Hermione stated. So who would want you in the tournament? Who would want to go through all that trouble? Naruto asked. I don't know, Harry admitted. We hope that it was a prank. Hermione said, even if she didn't sound convinced with herself at all. Hey, I'm a master at pulling pranks. This is not a prank. Naruto stated seriously. That's not lying. Sakura sighed. I'm sorry, what was that we hear? Came an older student's voice as he and his identical red-headed brother scooched in between Naruto and Sakura. Hermione, you're the brains of the outfit. What's all this then? Some foreigner coming to our school and declaring himself the prank master? I must be hearing things. George, am I hearing things? Nope, you heard right, Fred. George nodded. Can we help you too? Sakura asked. Fred. And George. We're the prank masters of Hogwarts. They both said in sync. At your service. Fred finished. Naruto smirked. Naruto. And this is Sakura, my teammate. Naruto said, motioning to his partner. I thought she was your girlfriend, from what I've heard. Hermione said. No, not. Sakura said firmly. Naruto had a look of dejection that no one noticed. Sorry, I shouldn't have assumed. Hermione said. What did you hear exactly? Sakura asked as she glared at Naruto. I'm sure it's just a rumor, but someone in our house said they caught you two snogging in the hallway the other day. Hermione said. Sakura gave a look of confusion. Snogging? It means making out. Fred snickered. What? Sakura shrieked. No, we don't kiss each other. You. And we haven't even been inside the halls that much. Someone must be using the transformation jutsu. I have a feeling I know who, Naruto growled as he locked a death glare at Sasuke. Sakura followed his gaze. Sasuke? Why would he do something like that? Because I don't know, because he's a jerk. Naruto said. Sakura grit her teeth. So, he drags me into this, she seethed. What a piece of shit. If you want to get back at him. Fred said. We can offer you our services. George added. Free of charge. Fred and George offered. Sakura's glare turned into an evil smirk. I got a plan. Naruto couldn't help but smile at hearing Sakura call Sasuke a piece of shit. And on top of that he only saw that look in her eye when she had thought up a truly devious plan that could put Naruto's own pranks to shame. I love that look in your eye. Fred smirked. The woman after my own heart. George added. Have you got a date to the Yule Ball? Fred asked. No, I don't and am not looking for one right now. Sakura stated. So what's your plan? Naruto asked. You too. Is there a spell to conjure up a massive amount of spiders? Sakura asked the Weasley twins. Okay, now I'm gonna have to ask you formally to the dance. George smirked. The remainder of dinner was spent in hushed whispers as the six of them planned out Sakura's revenge prank. Hermione remained only tangentially involved, insisting that she had studying to do, and Harry insisted on letting her get on with it. By nightfall, things seemed all planned out and there was nothing left to do except for returning to their beds. At the cane camp, Vidal was up late and running through her forms, making sure not to get rusty. Unknown to her, Gohan was watching her as he was approaching her. Your right jab is a little sloppy. Gohan said without thinking. I didn't ask you, now did I? Vidal snapped. I'm sorry, it's so glaring. Gohan tried to apologize. Glaring? Vidal scowled. Ah yeah. Anyone could see it. From the outside, I mean. What is it that you want, Gohan? If it's nothing important then leave me alone. Vidal spat. Why are you so angry with me? We used to be such good friends. We've known each other for years. Gohan asked. You lied to me, that's why. Vidal spat. Huh? I lied. About what? Gohan asked in confusion. You lied to me when you told me you were human like me. You kept your heritage from me. You made me think you were just as normal as anyone else. I had to find out for myself that you were one of those monsters. Vidal shouted angrily. If you would have just been upfront and honest with me, I would have accepted you as you are. But since you lied to me and you're playing the innocent card with me, why should we be friends anymore? Friends. Don't lie to each other. Gohan looked down, ashamed of himself and hurt by Vidal's harsh words. He never meant to lie to her and he hoped that she would understand that. Vidal, I'm sorry. I never meant for things to be this way. Well, too bad. You're a few years too late. Now leave me alone. Vidal turned away in a huff. Is there anything I can do to make this up to you? Gohan asked sincerely. Vidal sighed. No there isn't. Oh, I really am sorry. Yeah, well, sorry won't cut it now. I hate being lied to. If you were just honest with me from the start, I wouldn't have thought twice about you being what you are. But since you waited so long to apologize, I don't think I can find it in me to forgive you. I'm sorry. Vidal said before getting back to her training. I really want to make things right, what if I took you to the Yule Ball? Gohin asked, hoping that would get her to come around. I said just leave me alone. Vidal snapped. Gohin felt his entire world shatter. He really did want to make it up to her, but it was evident that she wanted nothing more to do with him. He turned around to walk away. I'm sorry, he said softly before walking away in sadness and shame. Vidal grit her fists and flew away to get away from Gohin faster. Once she found a suitably sized tree at the edge of the forbidden forest, she went to town on her newest punching bag. How dare that jerk try to apologize after all this time and expect her to just forgive him? Was he kidding? Was he messing with her? Expecting her to forgive him after one overdue apology? Vidal's next punch split the tree right down the middle. So, she moved on to a tree deeper in the forest. Little did she know that there was a pair of eyes watching her. Back with Elise Shinobi, Naruto and Sakura said goodbye to their 4 new friends from Hogwarts. Sakura's trap was set and all there was left to do was to hit the hay. Man, Sakura-chan. I don't think even I could have come up with that. Naruto grinned. Sakura giggled. Thank you, Naruto. I just wish I could be there to see it in person. Well, I'll tell you all about it. Naruto offered. Oh, please do. I would love to see the look on his face. Sakura grinned. And do, Sakura-chan. Naruto saluted while Sakura let out a cute yawn. Well, I'm gonna go to bed, Sakura said sleepily. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Naruto said, catching Sakura's yawn. In Sakura's drowsy state of mind, she stumbled over her foot and lost her balance. Naruto was quick to catch her and found herself in his embrace. Her mind started racing as she felt her chest and cheeks warm up before looking into his eyes. Those eyes of piercing blue, they seemed to cast a spell on her, making her freeze. Whoa, you okay? Naruto asked, holding her steady. For the first time in a long time, Sakura began to appreciate just how much taller Naruto was compared to her. Sakura was snapped out of her daze, regaining her focus. Why yeah, I'm fine, just really tired is all. They'll say. I think you had too much roast beef. That stuff will knock you right out. Yeah, Sakura said as she pulled away. That must be it. Well, good night Sakura-chan. Naruto smiled. Yeah, you too. Sakura smiled before running into the house. Maybe she needed to use the bathroom. Naruto mused before heading inside. Naruto headed to the second floor where the boys were all sleeping. He opened the sliding doors to the large open room made of bamboo tiles, with nothing but sleeping bags to cover the floor. Sensing no one else in the room with him, Naruto decided just to turn in. No sooner had his head hit his pillow that the sliding doors opened again and the smell of dog hit the room. Naruto. Kiba hissed in the dark, not wanting to wake anyone up that he didn't have to. What, dog breath? I'm tired, Naruto yawned. You won't be when I tell you the good news. I just found out about your first task. Kiba hissed. That perked Naruto up. What is it? Come on, you gotta see it to believe it. Kiba said as he made his way over to the window facing Hogwarts Castle. Naruto got out of bed and followed Kiba. The two of them jumped out of window into the black forest. Akamaru quickly joined them leaping from tree branch to tree branch. His white fur being Naruto's only visual guide through some of the thicker parts of the forest. Naruto always found it exhilarating to leap from branch to branch. Feeling the cool evening air blowing through his hair, feeling his legs pump against the tree branches and relax as they all hung in the air before reaching the next branch. Half the time you felt like you were flying. 5 minutes later, just when Naruto was seriously starting to consider if Kiba was having a laugh at his expense, did Naruto hear it. An unearthly roar that made the trees themselves quiver in fear. Kiba and Naruto immediately landed on the first sturdy branch they could find and surveyed the situation. What the hell was that? Naruto whispered so quietly that only Kiba's chakra-enhanced ears could pick it up. Your first task. Kiba spoke. What? Naruto asked before a jet of blue and orange flames split the darkness covering the forest. Now Naruto began to notice the silhouette standing around the big thrashing serpent-like creatures. Their wings beating against their cages, sending the metal rattling over the cries of the men on the ground. Are those? Naruto whispered. Yeah, dragons, Kiba nodded. Akamaru whimpered when 2 more of the dragons began to shoot flames. Their breath illuminated the whole field, allowing Naruto to count 6 in total. All of them fully grown and all of them looking mad as hell. Naruto gulped. Oh, joy, yeah. Are fighting dragons considered an A-class mission? Kiba asked. S-class, shit. Glad I told you beforehand. Would you believe that I just ran into this while walking Akamaru? Kiba said, trying to laugh the whole thing off, but found that Naruto looked in no mood to be laughing. He was too busy watching those 10,000 pounds of steel flesh and flames slam against their cages. Men in robes on the ground scrambled into their various positions, trying to maintain order against the terrifying beasts. One dragon even raised its wings and bolt of lightning came crashing down from on high. Here I thought we'd have to fight in hand-to-hand combat with the other schools. But this is worse. We need to go tell the rest of the guys. Maybe they'll know what to do. Kiba suggested. Aren't I supposed to figure things out for myself? Naruto asked. You guys helping me out specifically with this task is cheating. Yeah, fuck that. We're ninjas. We stand alone together. Kiba stated, bringing a smile to Naruto's face. Akamaru gave a quick rough in agreement and the trio headed back to their castle. Dragons. Shikamaru repeated in front of the whole of the Konoha 12. We both saw them with our own eyes. Naruto stated seriously. 6 dragons. Kiba added. 1 for each champion. Shino spoke. That's what we're thinking. Naruto nodded. I have to assume that the next tasks are going to be just as dangerous as this one, if not more so. Shikamaru mused. Well, can't we focus on the first one in front of us? Ino scolded. I'm just thinking out loud. Shikamaru said. Maybe you have to fight off the dragons together with the other champions. Lee suggested. Show off that youthful teamwork. This isn't a competition for teamwork, Lee. Every champion is fighting for themselves, not together. Niji stated. Exactly. It would be the last thing anyone suspects. Lee said. Niji is right, Lee. Naruto stated. There will be no teamwork here. Okay, just a suggestion. Lee said sheepishly. They can't seriously expect Naruto-kun to fight a dragon by himself, do they? Hinata asked nervously. He has to. By law of the Goblet of Fire, he has to serve as our champion. Shikamaru stated. It's bullshit. Sakura spat. I think what Hinata meant was they can't expect Naruto to beat a dragon. Tenten said. Maybe you just have to survive a dragon attack for a certain amount of time. It's still bullshit. They expect him to risk his life just for some task. He volunteered, didn't he? We all did. Shikamaru said. We came all the way here and put our names in the goblet. We knew the risks and they are no different from any mission we've ever been assigned. Sakura wanted to snap back, but she couldn't. Shikamaru had her. It's still unfair. A dragon of all things. They wouldn't assign a task that was impossible. Shikamaru said. Then his eyes shined like a light bulb. What if he is supposed to retrieve something? Something that the dragon is guarding? Like a snatch and run mission? Naruto asked. Exactly. European dragons are famous for guarding treasure. This was historically a European tournament. It would make sense. Shikamaru said. So if that's what this challenge is supposed to be, then how is he supposed to do that? Sakura asked. That's the trick, isn't it? Shikamaru asked. Sakura sighed heavily before looking at Naruto. Just, be careful. You know me, Sakura-chan, I'm Mr. Safety. Naruto said, reassuringly. Sometimes I wonder. Sakura mused, voicing everyone's thoughts. Naruto chuckled as he stood up. I'm gonna take a quick walk. Stretch my legs. Excuse me. He said quickly. Sakura watched Naruto walk away, followed by everyone else except herself and Ino. God he's so reckless, what am I going to do with him? Marry him if you don't end up killing him. Ino muttered to herself. What Sakura sputtered. Nothing. Ino said innocently. Ino, I told you before. I don't like him like that. Sakura said firmly. So you say. Ino said. As that argument played out, Naruto made his way as deep into the forest as he felt safe from being overheard. Aye. Naruto screamed out into the night sky, clutching his locks in his fists. A dragon, a freaking dragon. He was expected to fight a dragon. How was he supposed to do that? With his shadow clones. Their flame breath would roast his clones just by burning near them. His Rasengan. Their scales were magical and damn near impervious to physical damage. Summoning. A dragon would tear Chief Gamabunta to pieces. His wind jutsus might as well be puff of air against those dragon scales. And his genjutsu was laughable to even consider. He was screwed. What was he supposed to do? Keeping a calm head there, loser. A familiar and annoying voice said. Naruto looked over to find himself once again surrounded by his 4 least favorite ninjas. Sujetsu, who had spoken, Juugo, looking like a disinterested burly scarecrow as usual, Karen who was eagerly anticipating Sasuke ripping into Naruto, and the man of every hour, Sasuke. What do you idiots want? Naruto growled. My, such a tone for someone in over his head. Sujetsu sniggered. You broke our agreement, dope. Sasuke said. So what? Naruto snapped. Like hell I was going to add to your already overinflated ego. Sasuke didn't respond. Naruto blinked and the next thing he knew he was receiving a spinning kick to the face, knocking him over to the nearest tree and felt his throat being shoved back into the bark. It's not ego, dope. It's fact. I am the best ninja of our generation and you are the dead last idiot who scraps by because of the endurance granted to you by the 9 tails. Sasuke spat, his elbow digging into Naruto's collarbone. I offered you a way out. Save you some embarrassment in front of your precious keeper, Sakura. But now you've gone and done a stupid thing like get yourself selected champion. So, you're gonna fix this. Fuck you, I ain't fixing shit. Naruto spat. For the record, I didn't put my name in. Is that right? So, it's just dumb luck you got in. It fits, it's how you've made it through life so far. But you are gonna fix this. You're going to go to the judges and beg them to let you switch places with me. If you can't even do that, then forfeit so that I don't have to waste my time stuck here for a year. Sasuke ordered. Or maybe I should just ask Sakura out. Naruto went quiet. His eyes flashed with fear as he imagined Sakura kissing Sasuke and stop hanging out with him altogether. He would be alone again. And with Sakura gone, all his other friends would slowly leave him too. Without Sakura to see the best in him past all the weirdness and executrices. He saw Sakura, smiling her beautiful smile. Cheering the loudest for him after he was chosen to be the Konoha champion. Filling his heart with confidence. Like he wasn't a hated monster or weirdo. She saw him for him. Naruto looked at Sasuke straight in the eyes. All his childish rage subsided, replaced with something new. Confidence. Sasuke felt his own power over the dope falter. Naruto had never looked at him like that before. You know what, team? You ask Sakura-chan out. You ask her out and you tell her about my feelings for her. I'll just deny them and she'll believe me over you. Her best friend over the guy she thinks is a piece of shit. And you know something else. I couldn't switch with you even if I wanted to. So no matter what, you're stuck here for the next 8 months, with nothing to do besides watch this dead last win the whole damn Quint Wizard Cup for Konoha. Naruto shouted for all the heavens to hear. Naruto shoved Sasuke off of him. The Uchiha offered little resistance. This new Naruto was different. But hey, thanks for the pep talk. I needed it. Naruto said before taking off back towards the house. This isn't over, dope. Sasuke snapped. It's over. Face it, you lost, team. You lost to the dead last of our generation. Have fun nursing your wounded pride. Naruto called out as he ran back to the house. Unknown to either of them. Behind a nearby bush, a certain pineapple-haired genius was giving a knowing smirk at a gasping pink-haired Kunoichi as she held her hand over her mouth. In the studio, things were hectic as usual. Once again, the Konoha Shinobi and the Z Fighters were getting set to script yet another story that Martin and Panda thought up, and Sakura was complaining about her pay. Bullshit, you've got bills. You have main character status on 13 of our stories between this studio and my private works. Don't tell me you are just scraping by. SAMURAIPAND 85 said. Well, Jesus Christ. The way Naruto eats, it's a wonder that we can even keep the cable paid. Preaching to the choir, sister, Vidal deadpanned, giving Gohan the stink eye. Well, that sounds like a marriage issue more than anything related to my problems. Panda said. Hey, wait a minute, where's the other rider? Krillin asked. Martin. Hess at home right now. Panda said as an assistant with long brown hair as smooth as silk and terribly delicious tight jeans came up behind him. Here is BRADW 316's beta read for the next few chapters of Quint Wizard. She said softly, holding up a pair of scripts. Thank you, Tonya. Put them on my desk, I'll see them later. Panda said. Oh, so Hess taking a break while we're all busting our asses. Sakura huffed. Panda stopped going over his notes and stared at his employee. For your information, his grandfather just died. The last grandparent he had. So let's have a little compassion, huh? At that, everyone gasped and stared in sympathy at the empty seat belonging to Martin. Oh no, Hinata breathed out sadly. Damn, I knew his health wasn't good, but, Vidal said sympathetically. Yeah, so on top of everything else going on in Martin's life. Hess got that. Panda said. He sighed, needing something to do to satisfy his ad. He got up and decided to make some coffee from the Keurig. Shit, if only there was something I could've done, Sakura said sadly, now ashamed of her attitude. There wasn't anything you could have done. King Kai said. He was sick with Parkinson's disease and it was at the end stages. Yet, he lived a long and happy life with a distinguished career. Ball spoke up. What did he do? Riker asked. In life, he was a petty officer in the US Navy. He served on the USS Grenadier, the USS Jack, the USS Quillback, and was temporarily stationed on the USS Enterprise. He also served as a Connecticut State Police officer, had 3 children, 6 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. Married to only one woman for well over 50 years. It's a shame a man like him could die with such indignity and suffering. He is still receiving full military honors, right? Naruto asked. Yes. He is to be honored on the USS Nautilus. Ball assured. The first nuclear-powered submarine, Riker said in amazement. Right you are, number 1. Picard said. A true shame he passed, but to have such honors as to serve on the Enterprise and to be honored on the Nautilus is truly something. I wish I could have met him. Sakura said. He was a man unlike any other. They heard a voice behind them. Everyone turned around to see their other boss looking like his life was just torn to pieces. Martin, I thought we agreed you would take some time off. I've got everything under control. Panda said. I can't sit around and mope all the time. He was suffering in his final moments and now has at peace. I see. That is great to hear. No doubt your grandfather would be proud of you for that. Panda said. Yeah, Hess in a better place, probably driving around in his 53 Mercury. He loved his Mercuries. He definitely is. Panda smiled as he patted Martin on the back. It'll be okay, Martin said before looking up at all his cast employees. We got work to do. So let's get to it. You heard the man, everyone back to work. Panda called out. Author's note from Panda. This chapter is dedicated to Martin's grandfather. Richard Ward Martin. Retired U.S. Navy Petty Officer, retired CT State Police. May he rest in peace. We hope you enjoy the chapter. Chapter 4 Unforgivable Curses and Lies. The next morning, the Konoha ninjas all awoke to an ear-splitting scream coming from the shower. They all ran as fast as they could to see if one of the girls was under attack. What they found instead was Sasuke swatting at a patch of living breathing black moss that seemed to be growing at an alarming rate from out of the shower head. Except it wasn't moss. It was a swarm of black spiders. Get them off. Get them off. Sasuke screamed as the others all laughed hysterically. What's going on? Lady Tsunade shouted as she pushed her way through the crowd of pajama-wearing boys. Tsunade then got a full view of Sasuke covered in a mess of spiders. Oh geez. Shino, can you order those spiders off of him? Tsunade asked. Shino nodded as he tried to rope in the rogue swarm of spiders. Sasuke-kun. Karen shrieked as she broke through the crowd, followed by the rest of the girls. Sakura immediately saw Sasuke in his current state and burst out laughing. Karen tried to hold Sasuke in order to comfort him and ended up just slipping on the wet shower floor. Sakura was laughing so hard that she had tears coming out of her eyes. The others were in the same boat. Ah damn it. Sujetsu said as he decided that Shino wasn't working fast enough and decided to douse Sasuke in water to clear away the bugs. Thank you Sujetsu. Tsunade said as she wrapped a towel around a hyperventilating Sasuke. I don't know who is the mastermind behind this prank is, Naruto, but I think that preying on the boy's extreme fear of spiders might be pushing it. Tsunade said to all of them. He deserved it. Sakura thought sourly. Why am I always to blame? Naruto asked, offended. Because you're the one who painted all the Hokage faces in broad daylight. You've got a rep. Tsunade stated. Well, it wasn't him this time. It was me. Sakura admitted without hesitation. Tsunade looked at Sakura in confusion. Sakura, is this true? You weren't just covering for Naruto? No, I'm not. This was 100% my doing and he deserves nothing less after the crap he pulled. Sakura said sourly. Be that as it may. You will scrub the showers later today. No jutsus of any kind. Only elbow grease. Tsunade ordered. Whatever. It was worth it. Sakura scoffed. Then you won't mind if I make you do it every day for a week? Tsunade asked. No, Sakura tried to retort before Naruto clamped her mouth shut with his hand. You might want to stop while you're ahead. Shall just keep extending it. Naruto whispered to her. For once, Naruto is the smart one. Tsunade mused. Live and learn. Naruto chuckled. Sakura sighed through her nostrils before nodding. Leave it to him to always look out for her when her stubborn side took over. Naruto released her and she sighed in exasperation. A week won't be necessary, Lady Tsunade. It'll decide if it's necessary. 1 week starting now and he'll hear no more about this. Tsunade stated. The rest of you, get to training. Breakfast is in 1 hour. So, many spiders, Sasuke moaned shakily. Come on, brat. Get up. Tsunade said as she hoisted Sasuke to his feet. You're okay. They're gone now. Everyone else filed out of the shower and back to their rooms to get dressed. Karen led Sasuke out of the shower to calm him down while Sakura and Tsunade remained. Well, you best get started. Tsunade spoke. Wait, Sakura spoke up. There is something you need to know. You can confirm this with Shikamaru as he was with me last night. What is that? About what Sasuke has been planning. Has been deceiving us from the start. Sakura said seriously. At the Kane camp, Videl was already up and training. She was still pissed from last night on how Gohan approached her. Videl was furious. She was destroying any tree or rock that was unfortunate enough to be in her way. But her thoughts were cut short when a kunoichi fell out of the sky on top of her. The two girls collapsed to the ground. Ow, Ino whined. What the hell? Can't I train in? Videl stopped herself when she recognized the girl on top of her. Wait, you're one of the ninja girls, what was your name? Ino. She grunted as she stood up. What the hell happened? Videl asked. Training our champion, but that idiot threw me over his shoulder and sent me sailing here. Ino said as she dusted off her skirt. Ah, well, I'm just trying to vent from what happened last night. Oh, Ino said, surprised by her openness. Mind if I ask what's wrong? Gohan. Has so goddamned annoying. He lied to me about what he really is and kept it a secret from me for our entire childhood. It wasn't until 7 years ago that I found out what he actually was, and he waits till now to apologize to me. What kind of a friend is that? Then he has the balls to ask me to the dance. Vidal ranted, needing to get this off her chest. Oh sweet sage, just when my faith wavers, you provide this gift. Eno thought before taking a deep breath. That complete jerk. Eno said. Exactly. If it wasn't for the fact that Hess 20 times stronger than me, it'd deck him. It'd deck him either way. Who does he think he is? Just because he is stronger he gets to play with your feelings like that. Well, I don't think he did it intentionally, but it still hurt. What makes you say that? Eno asked. He was trying to protect his family's identity, more or less. But he still could have been honest with me about it. We practically grew up together. Would you trust him with that kind of secret? If you were his age? Well, I mean, no, I guess not, Vidal admitted shamefully. So, you really don't have a reason to be upset with him. From the sounds of it, he was doing what he felt was best for his family. He didn't tell you because maybe he and his family didn't feel like you were close enough to tell you or they just didn't know how'd you react to it. Eno explained. I guess, I just didn't think of it that way. And now he wants to make up for it. By asking you to the ball. Do you think he has feelings for you? I don't know, I never really gave it thought. Do you have feelings for him? Vidal said, but stopped herself. I don't know. Well maybe you should give that some thought. Eno said. I mean, we grew up together, trained together, I always thought of him as a brother, Vidal admitted. Like I said, give it some thought. I've got to get back to training. Eno said, knowing that the best thing she could do right now would be to give Vidal some space. Vidal nodded as she watched Eno leap away. Now she was all alone with her thoughts. She had never thought about any of that. As usual, she let her temper get the better of her and potentially ruined her friendship. Later, back with Sakura and Tsunade. Sakura had just divulged everything she saw and heard between Sasuke and Naruto. And like I said, Shikamaru can confirm everything. Sakura finished. I believe you. Shikamaru told me a similar story when I confronted him days ago. Tsunade said. Well, this was last night. And, something else I heard that has me confused. What is it? I found out that, Naruto, Sakura stammered, her face beet red. I won't worry about it. Tsunade winked. But, Sakura stammered, only to receive a pat on her shoulder. I've seen this before. Give it time, and it'll all work out. Until then, focus on the task at hand. But I don't even know if I. Like I said, give it time. Tsunade smiled. Sakura sighed. Yes, master. Good, now go help him train. Hess gonna need all the help he can get if Hess facing a dragon. Tsunade said playfully. Lady Tsunade. Sakura whined, her face beet red in embarrassment. Hey, I'm serious. Those things will roast him alive if Hess not prepared. Get to it. Why yes m'lady. Sakura said quickly before getting ready to go. With morning warm-ups finished, Naruto and the rest of the Konoha 15 headed to the dining hall for breakfast. All of them sat isolated from the rest of the Gryffindors, with the exception of Naruto, Sakura, Hermione and Harry. The latter of whom looked to be in a particularly grumpy mood. Hey man, what's eatin' ya? Naruto asked. His mouth filled with fried sausage links. It's nothing. Harry said as he cut his egg so much that he was starting to leave marks on the plate. Harry is upset over Ron, his best friend. Hermione said. Former best friend. Harry interrupted. Uh-oh, what happened? Sakura asked. The little tosser thinks I'm replacing him with you two. Harry grumbled. What? Why would he think that? Naruto asked. Because he saw you both act so friendly around him. And Hess jealous of Harry as it is. Him being chosen for the Quint Wizard tournament was the last straw. So, seeing him get so chummy with you, Naruto, is like rubbing salt in the wound. Hermione explained. That's just ridiculous. He sounds like Hess acting like a child. Sakura said. He is being a little childish, but Hess just frustrated. I'm sure that give him some time and the two of them will come around. Hermione said. Doubtful. Harry grumbled. Yes, you will. You miss him, Harry. And I know he misses you too. You're both just so stubborn sometimes. Oh, I know what that's like. Sakura said, giving Naruto the stink eye. I'm not the one who's got a problem, unless you count the fact that I'm stuck playing in this deadly tournament. Harry grumbled. That reminds me, Naruto spoke softly, making sure no one else could hear him. I found out what the first task is. That it's dragons. Harry whispered. Yes, and they are not friendly in the slightest. Naruto nodded. I know. I saw them in the forest. And I think I saw you leave the forest. Were you with a white wolf? Jumping through the trees? Harry asked. Dog, but yes, that was me. I thought so. Hard to mistake your orange jacket and pants for anyone else. What were you doing in the forest at night? Naruto asked. I was with our friend Hagrid. He was the one who showed me. Hagrid? Sakura asked. Who's Hagrid? Naruto asked. Our care for magical creatures, Professor. Hermione said. And you shouldn't tell anyone that, Harry. What if someone overheard that he helped you cheat? We don't care, honestly. Sakura waved off. I care. Hagrid could lose his job or get the both of them in trouble. Hermione hissed. That's not what she means. Naruto interjected. We won't tell anyone. Keeping secrets is what we do best. That and I secretly put up a silencing jutsu around us. You don't know the silencing jutsu. Sakura said skeptically. Don't worry about it, Sakura-chan. It's not important. Naruto waved off. I think it's important. You asked me to tutor you on that jutsu a while back. When did you suddenly master it? I didn't even notice that you put it up. Even I can't do that. I said it's not important right now. Naruto said seriously, in a tone that meant he wanted it dropped right now. Sakura was upset but knew there was no point arguing with him any further. She caught the eye of a sympathetic Hermione and the two of them shared in the universal girl's gripe. Boys. They both thought. Fine. Sakura said. So, you guys say we could take part in your lessons, right? Naruto asked. Naruto, you are supposed to be training for your task. Sakura said sternly. The dragon, remember. The champions are encouraged to take part in the lessons, as Professor Dumbledore had said. Hermione said. And I'm sure some of your charms would be fascinating, but since Naruto has to face a dragon, he needs to focus on his ninja arts. Sakura said. They'd be a sight more useful than just straight brute magic. Hermione said, being terribly offended at Sakura's presumption about magic. And just what is that supposed to mean? Are you trying to compare us to the Kame students? Sakura demanded. Our ninjutsu is far more civilized than just punching something to get results, thank you. Hey now, calm down Sakura-chan. Naruto said while Harry tried to hold Hermione back as well. Outside of their silencing jutsu, Dean, Neville, and a few of the other Gryffindor fourth years watched the four of them look like they were playing a very aggressive game of charades. Come on. You wanna come at me, you better have the cubes to back it up. Sakura challenged. Really? Hermione gasped, astonished at Sakura's uncouth language. Really? Seriously, Sakura-chan? You're making a scene. Naruto begged. She insulted us and you expect me to take it lying down, Sakura snapped. No, we can't be fighting them. They're our hosts. Naruto said. You insulted us first. How dare you talk down about wand magic like that? Hermione spat. The two girls broke away from their respective boyfriends and stared at each other, sparks literally flying between them. I didn't insult you. I merely said that Naruto needs to focus on what he already knows. You were the one who took it as an insult and then insulted us. So don't place the blame on me. Sakura spat back. I heard your tone when talking about charms. Hermione said. What tone? I didn't have any tone to that. Yes you did. Hermione said. Harry, you heard it. Well, I guess I did. Harry said, certain only that he didn't want to step in the middle of these two. Look, can we just drop it? Naruto spoke. It doesn't really matter either way. Hermione, Sakura-chan is right. Magic to us is kinda useless at this stage in our lives, so it won't help much to me right now with the task this close to us. Sakura-chan, it would still be a good idea to attend. Not just out of curiosity, but because there may be a few tricks to help me survive this task. The two girls just stared at each other. Fine. They both said, neither one of them flinching. Naruto and Harry just sighed. The last thing they needed was their friends bickering with each other over trivial matters. Harry sighed again, knowing this was as good as they were going to get. Come on, you lot. We've got defense against the dark arts. Who's the teacher? Naruto asked. Professor Moody. Harry said. That got Sakura's attention. Moody? As in Aleister Moody? Yeah, you know him? Harry asked. Not really, but I've heard of him. Sakura clarified. You have? I've never heard of him. Naruto said. I'm going by what I've heard about him from the students here. From what I've heard, he is very intense. Intense? In what way? Naruto asked. You'll have to see for yourself. Harry said as he and Hermione stood up and got their books for class. After a few reassurances to their friends, Naruto and Sakura left the Konoha 12 to their ninja training, while the two of them followed Harry and Hermione to the fourth year defense against the dark arts class. So what do you normally learn here? Naruto asked. This class I mean. We learn to defend ourselves against those who use dark magic. Hermione answered. And today Professor Moody says that he is going to teach us about the 3 unforgivable curses. Harry said, earning curious looks from both ninjas. Unforgivable curses? Sakura asked. Why do I not like the sound of that? Because the use of any one of those curses on another human being is punishable by sending the spellcaster to Azkaban prison for the rest of their lives. Hermione explained. Well, what are they? What do they do that's so bad? Naruto asked. Well, let Professor Moody explain it to you. He is the expert. Hermione said. Sounds fair. Naruto shrugged. The four of them arrived just as class was about to start, meaning the only seats left were the ones right up front. Naruto and Sakura could feel the eyes of all of Harry's classmates burrowing into them. A few kids whispered about Naruto's cheeks, while a few others took note of Sakura's medical skirt. One boy in particular with freckles and flaming red hair seemed to eye Naruto with particular disdain before darting his eyes back to the front of the chalkboard. Neither ninja said a word as they both took their seats. "Wait, is that?" Naruto whispered as he spotted a familiar muscular man with spiky black hair wearing reading glasses. "Who?" Sakura asked before slightly recognizing the man. "Is that one of the boys from Kame?" "Yeah, I think that's Gohan." Naruto whispered. "Who?" Sakura whispered. "Gohan's son. That little girl told me about him." "He a friend of hers?" Sakura asked. I don't really know. She seemed to have a great deal of anger and jealousy when she talked about him. I can hear you too, you know." Gohan spoke into their minds, making them jump. "Something wrong?" Hermione asked while the students seated behind them snickered. "It's nothing," Naruto said, not wanting to cause a scene. Which was just as well, for at that moment, the doors to the front office flew open and out stepped Mad Eye Moody himself. "Put your wands away. My spiders finally came in, and what do we have here?" Moody spoke in the raspy kind of voice Naruto and Sakura knew from retired veteran ninjas. Two new faces. Ninjas from the Leaf. And one of them is a champion no less. Naruto and Sakura both nodded. Yes, I know who you two are." Moody waved off. "You do?" Sakura asked, slightly concerned. "It's my job to know who is here and who isn't, Missy," Moody said gruffly. Moody's magical left eye then darted down Naruto's front and he could swear that Moody was looking at his belly. But it was impossible. He'd have to be looking through the desk. "And I'd say at least one of you is worth knowing," Moody said vaguely. "What? How did he know?" Naruto thought. Sakura gripped the side of her desk so hard that she could hear the wood cracking. "But that hardly matters. Today, at long last, we will be learning about the unforgivable curses up close," Moody said. "You've all taken notes, but today you get to see them in action. Now for the sake of our two foreign guests, we shall go over them again. Weasley, what is the first of the three unforgivable curses?" All eyes turned on this Weasley guy, who just so happened to be the redhead who was giving Naruto and Harry the stink eye earlier. "The Imperious Curse," Ron said. "The one they used to control people." "Ah, yes, your father would know all about that one. It gave the ministry a hard time a few years back," Moody acknowledged. He turned his back on the class to pick out a jar filled with spiders only slightly smaller than tarantulas. The arachnid squirmed around his fingers as spiders do until Moody pointed his wand at it. "Imperio," Moody shouted. Instantly the spider froze in place before leaping off of Moody's hand and landed on Naruto and Sakura's desk. "Why?" Sakura shrieked. "Calm down girl, Hess completely tame," Moody reassured as the spider walked right up to Sakura and curtsied like a gentleman at a ball asking her to dance. Sakura shivered. "Doesn't make it any less creepy." Moody flicked his wand to the side and the spider crab walked over to the edge of the table. He flicked it to the left and the spider rolled to the other side before leaping to the next table and started to breakdance, making the rest of the students laugh. "Talented, isn't she?" Moody laughed before having the spider land on Gohan's head. Gohan was seemingly unfazed by it and reached up and held the spider in his hands with a slight smile. The spider stood up on one of its leg and gave Gohan a friendly wave with the other seven. "That's so friendly." Moody smiled. "What should I make him do next? Jump out the window?" He flicked his wand and the spider leapt over to the window, hanging off the edge by a single leg. Instantly the laughter died down. "Drowned himself." The spider leapt over to a nearby pickling jar, ready to dive in. No one was smiling now. Moody then had the spider float back into his hand as he was about to address the class. Total control. A lot of people say they only did you-know-what's bidding because of the influence of the Imperious Curse. It is that effective to turn one's mind to do anything anyone wants them to do. Moody spoke. "Here's the rub. How do you sort out the liars?" Moody said ominously. No one said a word, afraid of what would come next. The next spell, Harry noticed that Moody's eyes darted towards Neville. "The Cruciatus Curse. You ninjas might appreciate this one," Moody said as he returned the spider to its jar and pulled out a fresh one. "Crucio?" Moody cried. Immediately the spider in his hand seized up and started twitching horribly. It rolled over to its back and started thrashing about with its many legs. Sakura actually started to feel bad for the poor thing. Naruto could swear that he heard it screaming. Gohan grew angry by what was happening and he quickly noticed that it was bothering Neville horribly. "Professor, please stop," Gohan cried. Moody twitched his head before noticing that Neville was flinching at the sight of the spider being tortured. He quickly released the spell and the spider relaxed. "The torture curse," Moody spoke. "I don't appreciate it at all," Naruto said. "Well, your ninja villages have. For centuries, they have sought to transfer the cruciatus curse into jutsu form. With little help from the ministry, I might add. The idea of absolute torture is appealing to some interrogators. Moody smirked. For a second Harry could have sworn that he saw his professor lick his lips, and Naruto, Sakura, and Gohan were certain that is what they saw. But that's neither here nor there. The torture curse is not a nice spell. Some might say that it's the cruelest curse of the three. But only because they haven't experienced the last curse. Moody looked around the room. Can anyone name the third unforgivable curse? Only Hermione had her hand raised. Go on. Moody nodded. Avada Kedavra. Hermione whispered. Moody nodded before pointing his wand at the spider. Avada Kedavra. Moody cried. There was a flash of blinding green light and a rushing sound, as though a vast invisible something was soaring through the air. Instantaneously the spider rolled onto its back, unmarked but unmistakably dead. Several of the students stifled cries. The killing curse, not nice, not pleasant. And there is no counter curse. There is no easy way of blocking it. Only one has ever survived it. He looked directly at Harry. And Hess in this room, sitting right in front of me. Naruto and Sakura turned their eyes on Harry. He survived it. The unblockable curse. How? Why? When? They had so many questions, but Harry appeared to be caught up in his own little world. Now, there are a few things to note about the curse, and copy this down, it could just about save your life. Moody said, making everyone furiously pull out their parchment to take notes. Naruto and Sakura pulled out a few blank scrolls. Fortunately, there is a way to survive an encounter with someone who is using it. The killing curse is a projectile spell. Meaning that it has to hit you in order to kill you. Anyone firing these spells at you has got to be aiming for you. The incantation, Avada Kedavra, is based off the Aramaic language that means, let the thing be destroyed. If you fire this spell at someone but they are hiding behind a rock, the curse will hit the rock and shatter it. Same with a door or in my experience, anything sturdier than paper. Don't go thinking that you can just put on a suit of armor and be safe. The spell is clever enough to know that it's hit a living thing. You need a physical barrier between you and the spell. I can erect a barrier easily enough. Gohan said. With Kai? Moody asked. Gohan nodded. Then it'll be useless. Moody said. It will. Gohan asked. The Kai-based barrier would be no different than wearing a suit of armor. If it's connected to you in some form, you will still die. The Kai-based barrier is no different from a magical barrier or magic shield. Same goes for ninjutsu. The closest thing I've ever seen to it being blocked was when I had to hunt down a Death Eater who fled to the Hidden Rock Village. I was assisted by a rock ninja, and he erected a wall of earth with his ninjutsu. The scumbag spell hit the wall, it shattered, and debris caved in the man's skull anyway. That made Naruto gulp. He was terrible with earth jutsu. Pretty much everyone in his class was too, even Sasuke with his damn Sharingan. Could a shadow clone block it? Probably not, since they were made entirely of chakra. The Avada Kedavra requires a great deal of magical skill. You could all point your wands at me right now, and I doubt that it'd even get a nosebleed. Now why am I showing you this if I'm not going to teach you? Because you've got to know this. You've got to appreciate what the worst is. Constant vigilance. Gohan nodded while everyone else flinched. He knew better than anyone how keeping a close eye on your opponent is key to winning a battle. His life or death battle against Cell was case in point. As he waited for the next bit of the lesson, he noticed Moody's eyes fixed upon him. You have the look of a veteran, Mr. Sun. Care to share some of your experience with the class? I'd rather not. Gohan said softly. Good. I hate idiots who brag. If you've got to boast about your many exploits, that means that you've only got a few exploits. Moody said. Naruto and Harry met each other's eyes. As for the rest of you, copy this down. For the rest of the lesson, all they did was take notes on the unforgivable curses, their counter curses, and methods of recognizing them. By the end of the lesson everyone felt positively whelmed. Well, that was something else. Naruto said. I'll say, Sakura said, now even more concerned for Naruto. A curse that kills anything it hits, it's hard to believe something like that exists. Yeah, no wonder it's illegal. Takes all the fun out of battle. Naruto said. That's not why, Naruto. Anyone with an evil heart can use it as a means of murdering someone just for the hell of it. Well yeah, bad guys do it all the time. And how can you defend against something like that? Sakura asked with concern. I'm not. But bad guys hurt people without the killing curse all the time. Naruto said. And what if this guy comes around here? That really bad wizard. What then? Well then it'll protect you and you'll protect me. Naruto said. Sakura nodded with a soft smile. I hope so, she thought. What do you mean you hope so? Inner questioned. I mean I hope so. This curse sounds really bad and I don't want him to get hurt. Yeah, because Hess your best friend. Inner said, using her fingers to quote what Sakura had always said. When are you going to admit that you like him more than friends, and I don't mean like a brother either. Oh for fuck's sake, are you still on about that? Yes, I am. You know deep down you have strong feelings for him and yet you keep him and yourself in the friend zone. You already wrote off that team, Sasuke, so what are you going to do for a man in your life? Need I remind you that life is short and you aren't getting any younger. I'm 17. And your point is what? Ino Pig has a boyfriend. You want her to keep getting one up on you? Time flies by in a blink of an eye and before you know it, you'll be in your 30s, working a dead-end job, alone and lonely. I'm on the fast track to taking over as head medic of the entire Leaf Village. I could retire as a ninja tomorrow and live a cushy life as a doctor. And what are you? My mother. I am your innermost thoughts and feelings. And it doesn't matter if you have that nice cushy job or not. You would need companionship and you know it. I swear I'm gonna have Ino's dad seal you away for good one day. It was nice when I was confused about Sasuke, but now I think him going crazy. Sakura thought. And now you can't stand him for what he's doing to Naruto. I'm trying to help you out in the long run. The only reason I'm here is because you are not being honest with yourself. I'm not saying to take him to bed with you and ride him like a horse tonight. Inner said, making Sakura's face burn in embarrassment at the thought of doing something like that. I'm saying to be honest with yourself and make the first move. That dance is coming up and I'm sure he has no one to go with. He has Hinata. Oh please, acknowledge it or not, but you get fuming when you even think about him being with that ghost-eyed stalker. I'm done talking about this. Sakura thought. Admit it. Inner shouted. One more word and I have Ino seal you away. Sakura snapped. Inner just grumbled. You can be just as stubborn as Naruto, you know that. Yup. Tell me something I don't know. Now zip it. Sakura ordered. Once Sakura had snapped out of her mental conversation, she noticed that she and Naruto were outside of the castle and Naruto was staring at her. Have another conversation with Inner? Naruto asked, even when he knew exactly what she looked like whenever she talked to her inner self. Yeah, Sakura said, rubbing her forehead. It's been a while since I saw you black out for so long. Naruto commented. Yeah, don't worry about it. Sakura waved off quickly. Okay then. Naruto said as he leaned his head back against his arms. He couldn't help but smirk. He didn't know why, but he always liked it that Sakura talked to a voice in her head. When he first found out, Sakura was nearly in tears thinking that Naruto would call her a freak. How could I ever call you a freak? You put up with me and my furry little problem. Naruto had smirked. Maybe he just liked knowing that in a way they were both outcasts. The two of them enjoyed their stroll through the field when Naruto felt his sandal hit something soft and slimy. What the hell? Naruto asked before looking down. Sakura followed his eyes and saw a toad as big as a kitten sitting on Naruto's toes. A toad? Sakura asked. Shit, worst possible timing. Naruto thought. I didn't know that toads in Britain got that big. Sakura said as she knelt down to get a good look at the amphibian. You lost little guy. You seem far away from your pond. Yes. I think he is. Naruto said, jumping on the opportunity and scooping the toad off the ground. I'm gonna go take him back to his pond. He'll meet you back at the house before dinner. Before dinner? It's not even lunch yet. What about your training? I'll train on my own out in the woods. In private. It'll be a nice change of pace. Naruto said quickly. Sakura looked confused. Okay then. Naruto then jumped away, leaping through the trees at full speed. Now that's rather suspicious, what could he possibly be doing going that fast for? Inner wondered. Returning the toad I guess. Sakura shrugged. That wasn't a British toad I guarantee you that. That looked like a summoned toad. They are crazy. There are no summoning toads. Sakura thought. Naruto meanwhile had made it 1,000 yards into the forest before he felt safe to talk. Sweet sage, that was close. Naruto said as the little toad squirmed in his arms. What's up, Gamakichi? Not much. The little summoning toad spoke. The old pervert wants a word with you. You know, you could have waited until we were back at camp. Naruto grumbled. And risk getting seen. An older voice spoke from atop a nearby tree. High above Naruto sat an old man with silver white hair, large and spiky like a lion's mane, dressed in worn robes of green and red. He was eating an apple that looked to be picked off someone's back garden tree. What is it now, pervy sage? Naruto demanded. You ever going to stop calling me that, brat? Jiraiya accused. Keep it up and I won't base my main character off of you when I publish my comeback novel. If you ever get off the blacklist. Naruto said. Just you wait. One day I'm gonna clear my name and then we'll see who the pervy sage is. Jiraiya smirked. Still gonna be you? Naruto smirked. Yeah, so how have you been? Heard you made champion of your school through the toads. Yet you haven't once asked me for more training. I'm offended, brat. I didn't know you would be here, honestly. Plus, I never entered this damn tournament. The hell do you mean? You came halfway around the world and you chicken out at the chance to compete. I know that's not your style. Jiraiya accused. No, I didn't chicken out. That bastard Sasuke tried to force me to enter himself, but I got him. I entered Sakura-chan instead. Then how did you get chosen? She, entered me. Naruto said sheepishly. Ah, I see. Jiraiya smirked. I seem to have misjudged her. What's that supposed to mean? Naruto asked. Nothing you'd care to spoil. Jiraiya smirked. Oh, I know what you're thinking. Forget it, pervy sage. She's my best friend only. Of course, she is. Now to more important matters. Getting you to survive against a dragon, was it? Yeah, and I have no idea how I'm gonna survive, and the first task is almost ready. They'll say, Jiraiya whistled. Dragons. One of the deadliest magical creatures y'all ever face. How in the hell are they expecting you to face one all by yourself? Jiraiya scratched his chin. I don't know. I thought going to one of their classes would have some information on how to beat it or at least defend myself, but all we learned about was the unforgivable curses. Naruto ranted in a panic. Yeah, those don't do squat against a dragon. Even if you could use them. Their scales are so embedded with magic that it usually takes several wizards just to cast a single spell on them. Same goes with Kai and Chakra. I doubt even the famous Goku's Kamehameha wave could pierce its hide. That means Videl won't have a chance either, and she took down Granny Tsunade with one toss. More importantly, neither would you. So what do I do then? I can't forfeit. Calm down, brat. I've actually got an idea cooking that is just crazy enough to work. Jiraiya said. Really? What is it? If I'm right and you master it, it'll be a new jutsu that can kill dragons. Jiraiya smirked. Much later, back at the Kame camp, Videl had spent most of the day meditating in preparation for her challenge, but mostly she had been doing a lot of soul searching. What Ino said to her that morning really got her thinking about how she really felt about the person she had come to despise due to her own jealousy. She honestly didn't know what to think. Ino made some very valid points about how her anger was misplaced, but at the same time, he did lie to her. But he did it to protect his family's privacy. The more she thought about it, the more conflicted she was. And then there was that other thing Ino asked. Do you have feelings for him? Do I like him? Videl thought. Videl furiously shook her head. She had more important things to worry about. Romance was not one of them. He was a Saiyan after all and he had lied to her. She may be willing to admit that she is jealous of his abilities, but in the end, he still lied to her ever since they were children. Whether it was to protect his family or not, he should have been upfront and honest with her. That part she wasn't going to let go. Not easily, she thought to herself. He did try to apologize to me, but he should have done that years ago. Now it's too late. As she thought that, she felt a pang of guilt well up inside her. She reached into her shirt and pulled out her mother's necklace and held it in her hand. Mom, what would you do in this situation? She thought as she looked at the silver pendant with a red shining jewel in the center. Diddle. She heard Gohan's voice. She immediately turned around, still grasping her pendant. Now that guilt was replaced with anger as she snapped her head around. What do you want? She hissed. I was just checking on you. Gohan said, raising his hands to indicate that he meant no harm. You look distraught. Don't worry about it. Videl said as she put her necklace away. I was just meditating. What was that? Gohan asked. You know what it is, I've had it ever since I was born. Videl scoffed. Oh right, your mom's pendant. Gohan said. Videl sighed heavily. Is there a reason why you're bugging me right now? I'm not exactly happy to see you after last night. No reason in particular. You just look like you had something on your chest. Gohan said, rubbing the back of his neck. Yeah, actually there is. Videl snapped before grabbing him by the collar of his shirt. Are you absolutely out of your mind? You wait till now to apologize to me when you could have done that years ago. Like hell I'm going to accept it. You should have told me before I saw you transform and blow Cell to pieces. She screamed, tears running down her face in anger. Then you have the fucking balls to ask me to the ball, are you nuts? After everything you've done to me, you seriously expect me to say yes and let you sweep me off my feet, fat chance, Gohan's son. I was angry when I found out that you lied to me, but now I'm furious. Videl, please understand, I couldn't tell you. Gohan said as Videl manhandled his shirt. She shoved him onto his butt and blew up a boulder that was next to him with a Kai blast. Just stay away from me. I don't want to hear your excuses. Yeah, I already figured it out. You were protecting your family's privacy. But you could have still confided in me. I trusted you and you should have done the same. My family's privacy? I was protecting my friendship with you. Gohan shouted. I said wait, what? Videl asked, now actually curious. Do you think I didn't want to tell you? You were my best friend for years. You were my first friend my own age. I looked up to you. But then you lost your mother when Nappa destroyed East City. Don't you remember those weeks you stayed with my family? Cursing Saiyans the whole time. How could I tell you that I was a half Saiyan then? That's your reason. You think I would have hated you because of what you are? Gohan, you still could have told me. I wouldn't have cared because you and Goku are kind and pure of heart. I would have still accepted you no matter what. I looked up to you. You had strength and bravery when I didn't, and you taught me a lot before Master Roshi took over. You didn't have to be dishonest with me. Why is it that you are so brave in combat, but you're a coward when it comes to being honest with me? Why, Gohan? Videl exclaimed with a pleading look in her eyes. Because Gohan's fist tightened and cheeks brightened. I couldn't risk our friendship. You were so distraught at losing your mom. I thought, maybe if I waited for you to get over her. Videl couldn't hold her tears in, and the floodgate burst. Gohan, I still haven't gotten over her death. I saw her ripped from my life. I watched as she was instantly disintegrated by a blast, and her dust covered my body. That's something you never forget, but what hurts worse is that the one person I really looked up to in life, the one I got my strength from, lied to me. You cut me deeper than any blast could have ever done, and even after I found out, you still won't be honest with me, and you're still not being honest with me. You're just making more excuses, she cried. Damn it, Videl. I was a child and I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I wish I could take it back. I wish I could have been braver when I was younger, but I wasn't. Gohan cried. Videl just stared at him, wiping the tears from her eyes. Videl, from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry I lied to you, I'm sorry about everything I did to you, I want us to be friends again, I want you to be a part of my life again, without you, it feels empty, please forgive me. What are you saying? Videl stammered. She looked into his eyes and could see what he was talking about and her face and body relaxed. Gohan, why didn't you tell me you felt this way? Why must you keep everything a secret from me? With everything going on between us, I didn't think it was appropriate. Gohan admitted nervously. Oh, Gohan, you need to be more open and honest with me if you expect us to get along again, Videl almost pleaded as she walked up to him and grabbed his hand. Okay. Do you think I like this rift that is formed between us? I hate it just as much as you do, but you gotta understand, you cannot treat people like this, especially your friends. She reached up and wiped a stray tear from his face. Okay, big guy. Gohan sniffed. An entire childhood of insecurities laid bare. Okay. Good, Videl smiled before noticing how close they were and stepped back a few paces. Ahem, well, now that all of this has been put to bed, I need to get back to training. Would you like a sparring partner? Gohan asked, finally being taken back to familiar territory. Normally I would like that, but I have thoughts I need to sort out, alone, Videl admitted. Okay. Gohan said, feeling deflated. Hey, don't look so glum, Videl smiled. There will be other opportunities to spar. Just, not today, okay? Right, I guess I was, well, Yes, that's one of the reasons I need to be alone. I'm still a little hurt so I just wanna be alone for a bit. Alright. I'll just go do my own training. Give me a call if you want to train with me. Morning, noon, or night. Gohan said. Sure thing. Videl said before Gohan flew away. As soon as he was far enough away, she flopped on her back with a content look on her face. Oh man, that's a huge load off my chest, she thought. I guess Ino was right. She looked up at the sky, absent-mindedly glazing at the clouds as they passed her by. He likes me like that, huh? She thought to herself. A flock of birds passed by, right in front of a cloud that Videl thought looked like two dogs facing each other. Maybe about to touch snouts. Going to the dance with Gohan. She asked herself. Could be fun. Her thoughts turned to herself in a dress being escorted by a man in a suit with Gohan's hair, but not quite his face. His face resembled more like Naruto's, complete with the whisker marks and a soft yet confident smile. Now wouldn't that be interesting? Two champions from two different schools going together? He'd certainly be stronger than any wizard. She smiled at that. He is really handsome. But as soon as Videl thought that, she remembered that when she hung out with Naruto, the way she saw him and Sakura act around one another and how fondly he talked about her, she knew he wouldn't go to the dance with her. He would more than likely ask Sakura out. Still, she thought before returning to her training. No matter what her feelings were, she still had more pressing matters. The first task would be coming up very soon and she was going to win. Thanks for watching.